You heard Mike Johnson and what President Trump wants. Can you get it done?
I'm very worried. I'm very worried that if we don't put border first and get it done, it's going to be a nightmare for our national security. We've got millions of illegal immigrants that President Trump has promised to deport, and he should. Why are we doing mass deportation? Because we had mass illegal immigration. Laken Riley's murderer was released because there was no bed space to hold him, and he was paroled, and he raped and killed the girl. Right now, we have 41,000 beds. Under the Trump plan, we're going to go to 150,000 beds. We're going to double the number of ICE agents to find people and kick them out. We're going to finish the wall and put technology on the border to shut it down. That cost $100 billion. I'm willing to offset the $100 billion with cuts in other places.
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you about us boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 1,000 cities around the world. We just finished 16 years of broadcast excellence, now in our 17th year. The Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. An evil man will burn his own nation to the ground to rule over the ashes. That's from Sun Tzu, great philosopher, Chinese. Jimmy Carter is resting in peace, having been knocked off the worst president tag by who? Joe Biden. Other newbies vying for this dishonor have literally come from the ashes of Hollywood and the surrounding areas. Governor Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass have, with the help of Biden, are in a position to surpass him as the worst president ever. One might ask, who would vote for them? My response is the same Libyans who voted them into office time after time in the first place and voted for Biden and Kamala for president. Biden is special, though. He orchestrated ignoring then President Trump, suggesting Governor Newsom deal with the dried out underground of the forest floors like they do in Europe. And he did this in 2018. Gavin ignored that advice. And instead, he sent much of LA's firefighting equipment to where? Ukraine, to honor Biden. Then LA Mayor Karen Bass, a DEI pick, canceled $18 million in firefighting and was about to do the same. But Biden sent Bass on a trip to Ghana to honor an election there as the first fires were expected to happen and turned into a firestorm while she was there. 4 months earlier, insurance companies like State Farm canceled insurance because the state refused to let them charge higher premiums for the higher risks they had. The coup d'etat that moved Joe to worst president ever was dealt yesterday when Joe contributed $60 to $100 billion of our taxpayers' money to rebuild and repay the damage that ravaged 18,000 or so acres just as Trump is coming into office. Jimmy is resting at peace in the knowledge that Joe and other politicians are the number one worse, mainly because they are so full of number two.
But there's no way in hell Democrats are going to give us $100 billion for mass deportation. Every day we delay is a dangerous day for America. 3,000 Americans die from fentanyl poisoning every 2 weeks. I've never seen so many threats to our nation as I do now. It started with Afghanistan. ISIS is on the move. They're coming here. Last year, we found 8 people from Tajikistan that were affiliated with ISIS. I wrote a letter to Schumer saying, let's have a hearing about ISIS-K in Afghanistan. He blew me off for an entire year. Now he wants a hearing about New Orleans. The threats to our nation are large. I want the tax cuts. They're $4.7 trillion. They will ruin the economy if they expire at the end of the year.
Well, welcome to the Dave Weinbaum Show. We've had a few weather problems here. It's still snowing outside. We had a storm like that a couple of days ago, and it's coming down pretty hard. But me and JP, we made it. We made it.
We're here, baby. We're back.
JP Maxwell is. We're back from the trip we took with my son and my daughter-in-law and all my grandchildren. A lot of my grandchildren, let's put it that way, down to Jamaica. And that was interesting. Although you're scared all the time there that you're going to lose your passport, you're going to lose something identification-wise, and I have stories from there, but I don't really have time to do that right now because we got a full show today. Full show. Rabbi Moshe coming on. Israel still in the end throes maybe of a war. They can finally regard as a proud victory that a lot of people are wondering if they're going to take on Iran very shortly and stop their nuclear power. J.J. Brad will be here, the 256-year-old young man. Chris Adamo, he'll be up at 9:30. Pat and Mark McLusky, the lawyers from St. Louis. And we got a substitute. We were going to have Jeff Zink on, but he had to call out because he had an appointment with a woman that is a hiring person for the Trump administration. He has a pretty good chance of becoming the assistant secretary to HHS, is it?
Yeah, I believe so. Human and Health Services, I believe.
Yeah, Human and Health Services. Yeah. Okay, which is huge. He was trying to get into Congress, and he thought he had a deal with God that he was going to be a congressman and all that. And, tried twice and was cheated out of it twice, and he knows that because he's also an expert on election audits and forensic election audits. And he knows all the cheating that went on over the years. And he can't make it. So I got this guy now. His name is Mark Lee Dixon. And this guy is something. He is causing a real fuss here in Rala, Missouri, because he's trying to make Rala, Missouri one of the zones where you can't have an abortion. I mean, and he's done this. He's done this in various cities. He's been involved in a lot of the Supreme Court cases regarding pregnancy and abortions. So this should be amazing. Got him at the last minute, and I think we're in good shape.
Of course, our first show of 2025. So happy belated New Year to everybody. So
happy New Year, happy Hanukkah, and hope. We got here after the New Year. We got back after the New Year on about the second or third.
Yep.
And boy, I was exhausted for a couple of days. The one thing about being there in Jamaica was that I kept getting lost. I kept trying to find my hotel room, and it was confusing. I mean, I'd go. If you didn't go exactly the right way, you were going in circles. So I'd ask the people there. They were all very nice people in terms of their decorum and things. And I'd ask him, I says, do you know where room 3411 is? And sure enough, they didn't know. So I asked one guy, I says, how long you been doing this? He says, well over a year and a half. I says, well, how do you not know? He says, I just don't know. So he had to ask somebody else. And they took me to my room. And speaking of guys in a new room, I don't know where he's at, but he ain't in. I don't think he's in. Anyways, please, I want you to recognize the fact that the rabbi is in some wild. It almost looks like my house, but I don't think he's there. He is a wartime rabbi, second most powerful in Israel and his own house, according to his wife Yonit. He helps with war widows with their kids and livelihoods. He is a author now, and he's been the rabbi for this show for the last 15 years. Please welcome, wherever the heck he is right now, Rabbi Moshe Rothschild. Okay. Which hotel are you staying at, and what did you do wrong?
Actually, this is my prison cell. It's a white-collar prison.
White-collar prison.
Yeah, good. No, I'm in Dallas, Texas, actually.
Oh.
Actually, my flight here from Houston was canceled, so I had to rent a car and drive. It's snowing here in Dallas.
Really? Yeah, well, it's snowing right here, buddy.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right here.
A lot?
We had slippery sliding coming in to get to the show today. I told my wife to stay home. So
that's dedication. I'm impressed. Wow.
Well, we I haven't done a show in a couple of weeks. I've never had longer vacation than that. I've missed a show here and there, but this time my son asked me to go, and we had conflicts in the flights and things like that. So I said, all right, well, we'll do it this one time. And took a bunch of grandkids there and things like that. Played golf in Jamaica. I love.
Oh, wow.
That was huge.
So you went to Queens?
I went to Queens.
Jamaica. It's in Jamaica, Queens.
Jamaica, Queens. That's downtown. No, that's only in New York City, isn't
it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't know about anything about you hanging out with Queens, but
Well, yeah. When I was driving from Houston to Dallas, you passed Palestine, Texas.
Yeah, right. Oh,
I took a picture of it.
Lebanon, Missouri.
Yeah,
right down the road.
We should send all the jihadis from Gaza to Palestine, Texas.
I don't want them here. No, that's you've dealt with them. So now, and speaking of that, Trump has said that the hostages, they're not released. If they're not released by 1:20, all hell is going to break loose. So
that's right.
Is this sort of like Ronald Reagan and Jimmy Carter and the hostages?
Well, I think the situation is it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different than that because there are the hostages were all held in one space, and we knew where they were. Yeah. This situation is that this has been. The problem here is that we don't know exactly where they are. We don't know who's alive, who's dead, where they are. It's very complicated. And I know my son Ezra, who's actually back in Gaza now for a month, has told me that we know areas where there are hostages, but so that we're not allowed to fire on those areas, but. It's so complicated, but we're so excited for Trump to get in there. Nobody knows what he means when he says all hell will break loose. We don't know what that means exactly, but let's just say it sounds like a good thing.
Well, I think maybe he'll go after Iran.
Could
maybe be. Because they're controlling this whole situation and have been from the get-go, haven't they?
Right. They are the puppet masters behind all of these groups: the Houthis, the Hezbollah, the Hamas, Islamic Jihad. They are the funders. They are the ones providing missiles and rockets, and so they're the head of the snake. If they come tumbling down, it could be like dominoes.
Sure.
So maybe that's what he meant. He didn't clarify, but we'll see.
All right.
Look, at the very least, tough talk is good, but he's got to back it up with something, or else he'll lose credibility.
He's done that his entire career. When he took out Soleimani and took out the head leader of ISIS, and so he's done that. He's actually talked, moderately and done even more so than he said he was going to do in a lot of cases. So they don't know where he's coming from, which is the best thing he can be. There was one guy asked him, one journalist asked him, he says, are you gonna take out Iran? Are you gonna attack Iran? He says, now, why would I want to answer that? Why would I want to answer that? I mean, question and all, but why give that away?
Right.
I said, I don't have any plans. I wouldn't tell you if I did.
Right. I think you're right. Part of the strategy is the unknown.
That's
like
right.
What does he mean? And and so that sows fear, because you don't know where he's coming from and what's happening and what he's going to do. So
sure. Hey, so since Bibi would he would demand the above requisite to a ceasefire would evolve into a peace that would protect Israel from attack, wouldn't he? I mean, he just can't have people turned over and said, okay, you're okay now, because that does not meet the standard of what we're seeing or what we saw in October the 7th.
Right.
Right. We had a major problem here. The Terminator, the Trump. Oh God, he fell over. Are you okay? Are you okay? All right. Anyways, so what do you think? I mean, Israel wants him to fix this forever. Now that might be a long-term situation, but they got to fix it to where things are reasonably safe for Israelis, and that these guys are going to be defanged, so to speak, for a long time.
Well, look, also, we're looking to get peace with Saudi Arabia back on track, and possibly other countries in the Abraham Accords. There's a lot of optimism. There's a lot of optimism, and the inauguration's coming up soon. So
a couple days.
Yeah,
I hope he makes it.
So a week from Monday? Yeah.
Have you gone fundraising into Hollywood lately?
Not that Hollywood, but Hollywood, Florida.
Yeah, Hollywood. Oh my gosh! Did you see the fires and all? Oh my!
I'm supposed to be in LA on Wednesday next week.
Yeah, there is no such thing anymore. I don't think.
Yeah,
it's all gone.
Well, I'll be in San Diego. They said that's okay.
Yeah.
My problem is that I'm flying back to Israel from LA, so I hope the airport doesn't burn down. So that'll be a problem.
That could be.
But my flight from LA is not till a week from Sunday, so I'm hoping planes will be getting out.
I thought Bibi always lent you his plane to go to the U.S.
Yeah.
You're the second most important guy in Israel.
Yeah,
Am I not right?
Yeah, that's true. In America, they have the Air Force One. In Israel, they have
I can get the smartest, most intelligent rabbi to lie. I didn't think I could ever do that. That's a little power for me, isn't it?
Yeah.
There you go.
So they have the president has Air Force One here, right? I think right. So Bibi has the gefilte fish one. I think that's his plane. That's what it's called. Yes. So I'm hoping he'll send it for me.
What is gefilte fish? People don't know that on this show.
Well, gefilte fish is a well-known Jewish Ashkenazi, meaning European delicacy of different kinds of gefilte means ground. Actually, it's all kinds of different fish ground up, and I love gefilte fish.
It's in a ball, right?
It could be in a ball. It could be, different shapes. It depends on who makes it.
Yeah.
So, It's good. I like it.
It's delicious. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Jewish food is delicious.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't you guys sponsor me and we'll sell some kosher stuff? Anyways, people who I'm going to put this to you again because I know you didn't do a darn thing about it.
Yeah.
People who run around the world threatening Jews for no reason other than the fact that they are Jews, they must be countered. They must be addressed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so, how about JWD, Jewish World? I even forgot what I said. Oh, Defense. Jewish World Defense.
Yeah.
And I want you to tell Bibi this because we need something that's, because we can't let Australia, your old hometown. Apparently, you did some bad things there. Not Jews. It had to be your fault, right? Didn't you live in Australia?
I lived in Australia. In fact, I have Australian citizenship. So it's not
great. Looked it up and said, "Oh, he's one of the Rothschilds." Although you're not. You're one S short of a Rothschild, right?
I'm one S. We leave the S off for savings.
No, seriously though, all these people running around, they're shooting Jews left and right. It's all over the world. It's in all United States, all over there, and somehow we gotta send a message out to these people who are out there doing this without their own police. Look at England lately. All right, You're not listened to if you're a Jew.
England. It's not just Australia too. I mean, it's these places are really their anti-Semitism is showing. Let's put it that way.
Well, but it's dangerous, anti-Semitism, and that people are getting off on killing and or memeing Jews, Jewish children, Jewish rabbis.
Right. And burning down synagogues and
right. So I say we have to have some kind of a thing that's saying we're above, we're from Israel, and we have the authority of Israel to come in here and stop you from killing Jews, and let deal with the Jews.
Right. The problem is that I think it's getting so big and it's such a worldwide phenomenon once again. Yeah. And I think people are foolish, the ones who say, "Oh, it's not like Germany before the Holocaust." I think they're right. I think it's worse because it's not just one country. We're talking about these horrible things happening all over the world. In many countries.
Well, what would you do differently than what I just said? What would be the other options?
I don't know. I don't know if we have other options. I
mean, isn't it important that we take some effort and protect the Jews where they are, even though we're not there, even though the country may not recognize us? Just put it out that we're in Israel. You want to come fight us in Israel? Bring it.
Right. I mean, in New York, I don't know if they still have it, but years ago they had something called the JDL, the Jewish Defense League.
I know.
Yeah.
Basing it on.
Yeah. So, I know
about this. I'm serious about this.
Yeah. I know in record numbers, Jews have been getting guns, in the U.S. and in Israel too, by the way. Many civilians after October 7th, including myself, went out and got a gun. It's I don't think there's more than maybe 10% of the homes in my neighborhood that at this point doesn't have a gun. Everyone has.
Yeah. And I got a gun long time ago.
Yeah.
With Chuck. Remember Chuck?
Yes. Certain states it's easier. Certain states it's harder to get a gun. But I think Illinois is quite hard. I know you're from Chicago originally. Although if you live in the south side of Chicago, I think it's pretty easy to get a gun.
You get a gun in Chicago, and they have the toughest gun laws in the country. And the south side is still a mess.
Right.
At least they're starting to protest. The blacks in the South Side now are fed up with the new mayor, who I think his name is Johnson, and he wants to have a sanctuary city, and they're saying this is BS. You're just giving everything that we had over to the illegal aliens.
Right.
This is a lot of those people actually went out and voted for Trump. They did it in New York. They did it all over the country. Isn't that something?
Yeah. It was. I mean, we know it's practically a clean sweep because it's. There's a lot of yeah.
All right. So do you got any rabbi rants or Ben and Jerry scoops?
No, but I see the little message there from JJ.
Yeah.
I think it's been. This is one of my longest stretches where I haven't been back to Rala because I've been all over the New York, New Jersey, Florida, mostly with the Jewish audiences. But I was actually thinking about maybe in March I might make an appearance in Rala. We'll see. It depends on my schedule. It's been very
I'm
busy.
going to Israel then.
What's that?
I thought I would go to Israel then, and do you know any really good tour guides there?
Nope, don't know anyone.
Okay, so let me ask you this. This is the last question. Do you believe that God committed many miracles in this particular war?
In this war? Oh, yeah. I think this war, has been...
Why now?
Why now? Well, A, we needed them. But B, when we're down, it's good to know that, get like a little wink from above. Let's put it that way. With the terrible atrocities and then to see some incredible things happening, like, and it's always through natural means. Like, for example, I think the whole beeper thing with the Hezbollah, to me, that was a miracle. That 15 years in the making, and not only that, we made money on it. We sold that in the beepers. That whole thing. Man does what we do, and God assists. And then there are other miracles like the splitting of the Red Sea.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get to why not the Holocaust? Why now? What's the difference between then and now? In our attitude, maybe.
Yeah, maybe because we have a state, and we're helping ourselves.
Yes.
We're helping ourselves. I think that's a big part of it.
Guided by God, who has now turned back towards us once again, because we're doing it ourselves and just asking, please guide us.
Yeah,
I think don't do it all for us. We can do a lot of it, but help us once in a while.
Right. I think there's a lot of truth when people say that God helps those who help themselves. It's also, if you think about it in very human terms, when someone comes to you, a guy who's poor, and he's coming to you every time he needs money, money. But then he comes to you and says, hey, you know what? I got a job. But you know what? I'm still struggling because I had many years without a job. And I need a little help. But in another 6 months, I won't need your help. You feel very differently giving someone money like that than someone who says, hey, I need your help all the time and I'm not working. And so I think when someone starts to help themselves, you're willing to give them a little bit of a push, Sure. And in that sense, it's, I think when God sees that we're doing what we can and we still need some help, I think he's more forthcoming. I don't know.
I do too. And I think that should be a major thrust in religion in fact, you ought to write a book about it.
Well, I think there actually you stumbled on the truth, Dave. That's in Hebrew, the word is called hishtadlut. Hishtadlut means putting in your efforts, and we're good with that. we're okay. We don't rely on a miracle. We do what we can, and then hope God does His part.
Yeah, and I would guess that Christians listening to this should be motivated by it as well. In terms of, what do you really want God to just fix all your problems, or do you want to see what you can do? God,
exactly.
You put us in His image. So He gave us a brain, at least some of us, and you gotta check out Joe Biden. I'm not sure he has one, but He gave us a brain to be able to reason, to be able to try, to be able to
exactly
to exist after we lose and keep going until we win.
Right.
And He's got that. I think God covers that, and I think He wants people to do it themselves, and just get Him to guide a little bit, help a little bit here, help a little bit there, and that's it. And I think that's. I mean, how busy can you get God to be anyway?
Yeah, you're right. I think you're right.
It's a big world, but I'd hate to have to paint it.
Right.
All right. So other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find and contribute? And we're showing your book right now.
Oh, there we go.
Great book.
If they want the book, they can go to secretsofthehebrewbible.org. They can pick up a copy on that website. They can see a sample. They can read a chapter. Or you can go to our website if you want to contribute, IsraelAlliance.org or Facebook.com/Israel Alliance. We'd love to hear from you.
Okay. So now that I've got that, why don't I? Oh, okay. I know what it is. So you heard about the Dalmans, the Dalmatians who died in a plane crash?
No.
Yeah, they were spotted though.
All
right. Good luck. If you need a place to stop on the way in, if your plane cancels and you want to spend a couple days with me, even right now,
we'll see. Maybe I might end up doing that. It's supposed to be in LA from Wednesday to Sunday, but we'll see what happens. All right, guys. All the best. Thank you. Shabbat shalom.
Love the jail you got behind you.
Thanks. It's my blue collar. It's my white collar jail.
Your white collar jail cell.
Yeah.
All
blue one, comes with bars.
Here, Rabbi Moshe. Hope we get to see you in March.
I hope so.
Pastor Pat.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. All the best.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Shabbat shalom, my friend.
Shalom. Bye.
Okay, we're going to do some commercials. I got to tell you, I've been had a little cold for a while, and I'm going to sound a little salty today, so I'm doing my best to keep my mouth and my nose empty enough to where I can talk to you guys. And I've had this for about 2 weeks now, a week and a half, ever since we went to Jamaica, believe it or not. So what are you going to do? It's life to life, l'chaim. All right. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with J.J. Bradshaw. Hit it.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rala, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rala and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rala, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rala, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the number one sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have. Gotta reach 'em, see it right now. Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
At Town & Country Bank, we've got all the perks of a national bank, like online banking, quick loan approval, and you can deposit your check from your phone. But that's not why our customers love us. They love us because we still offer hometown customer service. Stop by one of our 2 Rala locations and let our friendly team remind you how special hometown banking can be. We're locally owned and will take the time to understand your needs. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
All right, we're back. And J.J. Bradshaw going to be up very, very shortly. In fact, he's almost never late. I'm bragging about him. This will be the first time. So, anyhow, in fact, I've got his stuff ready. Look at that. JJ, this is what I did in the first place, all right? and then we fixed it up a little bit better to look like that. And who knows? Anyhow, let me mention a few things. Oh, there he is. Look at that. Timing is perfect. Timing is perfect, like I thought it would be. And so let's welcome. This man is well, he's 256 years old. First of all, he goes back to revolutionary times, and he is he's an expert on the Second and First Amendments and the rest of the Constitution, because I think he actually had something to do with making it by making suggestions to Ben Franklin and George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, while they were still alive, when they used to go drinking at the Virginia bar, the pickup pioneer women. So I would like to have a rousing welcome for the opening star of the Dave Weinbaum Show, John Jeffrey Bradshaw. Oh yeah. All right, I want to play a clip for you real quick, and I want to share this with everyone else, because this is something you this is incredible. This is New Year's Eve CNN. Hit it.
2024 election fried our brains. The Democrats couldn't hold a primary because they were too busy holding a body upright. Are we still rolling? Am I off?
Go for it.
It was amazing that the pro-choice party didn't give their voters one when it came to the presidential candidate. Kamala was forced on us so hard you'd think she was patented by Pfizer or Moderna, whichever one's. Oh God, Andy just gave me a very scary look.
No.
Let me be clear though. 2024 was not only negative. The media wants us to believe this country.
All right. Any comments? What the hell was that? Did they just call court on Trump?
No, it was trying to play the next thing that was coming up before I could cut.
I was wondering if we're getting coverage of the Trump. The guy's going to present him with some kind of that
was the gavel.
A verdict today, or jail time or whatever. Who knows? He can do anything he wants to. So
that little CNN clip, I'm sure that off camera, her producer was going, "No, don't do that." And,
I wonder about that. I wonder because they pretended like she was okay to say it. So you've got these, there's a lot of hatred now amongst the Democrats against each other because of this.
Oh, they're eating each other. I think it's cannibalism in the best sort of way. Dave, I have suffered a 2-week Weinbaum withdrawal here, and I was getting a little bit twitchy.
Well, I was getting twitchy too because I miss you guys. I miss all you guys. It's like, part of the family here. It's only one day a week, so we can tolerate each other. Every day a week. I'm not so sure that would work.
Yeah, it'd work okay.
Yeah, okay.
I have such a list here.
Okay. Let's do it.
There has been so much going on. So these are a lot of little scraps, but each significant in its own way. We buried Jimmy Carter. According to a Gallup poll in the beginning of 2023, Jimmy Carter was the second worst president behind Richard Milhouse Nixon. In a Gallup poll that was released January 5th, 2025, Joe Biden was the second worst president behind Richard Milhouse Nixon, thus bumping Jimmy Carter to third in line. I'm sure that in his dying breaths, he was pleased to hear that. Now, speaking of Jimmy, terrible president, absolutely terrible. But I got to say right after that, genuinely fine human being. He just wasn't cut out for the job. But the things that he did after his presidency, I think redeemed him, at least in my eyes. He truly cared about this country and cared about humanity. So rest in peace, Jimmy. We actually will miss you. Supreme Court. Trump's debacle in New York, he had petitioned the Supreme Court to hear an appeal after the New York State Supreme Court shot him down. This was on the 34 so-called felony counts against him. And he asked the Supremes for a stay of criminal proceedings. They kicked it out.
Right.
In the same breath, Jack Smith wanted to release trial data from his trial. Trump's lawyers, of course, said, no, we really don't want to do that. And that's been blocked, at least temporarily. All of this is politics. Justice figures nowhere in any of this.
Of course not.
So that thing has been twisting around in the wind for quite some time now. Yeah. Speaking of Trump's issues, Fanny Willis down in Georgia just got a $21,578 fine against her. Yeah. She ends up having to pay Trump's legal fees and some other things in the sham proceedings that she went after him. And I read last night, I didn't sleep well, so I was reading a lot last night. Some pundit said, well, that's going to have to come out of her pocket. Give me a break. This is going to be the taxpayers of Georgia who pay for this. It is, however, good to see that Fanny is losing once again. She's probably not going to practice law in Georgia anymore. Perhaps she'll be a pundit on CNN. All right, let's talk about
That's
Trump.
Where they all go. That's where they all go. You
They
see
seem to
where
gravitate towards
Leo?
that.
You know who Leo Terrell is?
I do not.
He's a black guy. He's out of L.A. and he was always a Democrat, and then he decided to switch over and become a Republican, and he was a contributor to Fox News. And he just announced that he's going to be in the Trump administration at the DOJ in the Civil Rights Division, and that's a big ad. It's another Democrat switching over, like Robert Kennedy, who may have one of our guys here on this show as his assistant. And that's Jeff
Zink. Yeah,
how about that?
I think that's a wonderful thing.
Jeff Zink was supposed to be on the show. He called me yesterday and said, I got good news and bad news. I said, what's the bad news? It's bad news. I can't make the show tomorrow. And I said, so what's the good news? The good news is I'm talking directly to the person who hires all of Trump's people. I said, okay, well, I think you made a right choice. Okay. So it's looking pretty good for him.
You get a hall pass for that.
Yeah. What's that?
I think that's excellent. And anytime a Democrat leaves the Democrat Party and becomes either a libertarian or a Republican, I don't really care which, that's a feather in our hats.
Oh, hell yeah.
That suggests that they actually listened to what we had to say and said, yeah, that's not too bad. Dave, do you remember in high school history class a little thing called the Monroe Doctrine?
Not much. I don't remember much of high school at all, other than football.
Yeah, mine was kind of a blur too. But Victor Davis.
Does that have anything to do with the Louisiana Purchase?
No.
No. Okay.
Victor Davis Hanson, who's a historian,
I know him. Yeah.
wrote a very interesting article earlier this week, and regarding the Monroe Doctrine, and his take on this was the following. The Monroe Doctrine was 1823, so this is ancient history for our country. And Monroe had decided that it would probably be good at that time for the United States to be a little more isolationist than they had been in previous years. So the bullet points on this doctrine, I think Trump is in the process of adopting. Number one, Monroe Doctrine suggested that the United States not interfere in European political affairs. And I think that in modern day times, that would be Eastern Europe and Asia as well. The United States is not going to poke around. We're not going to fight another Afghanistan. We're not going to fight another Iraq, which I think is probably a good thing. Monroe Doctrine prohibited by use of force any colonization in the Western Hemisphere by European entities. Think Cuban Missile Crisis, if you will. That was, of course, the Russians in Cuba, 80 miles off of our southern shore.
Sure.
It looks like, and according to Victor Davis Hanson, his take on it, and I kind of agree with his opinion that Trump is going to adopt that. Our country is going to be a little more inwardly focused. We're going to get out of it.
Regionally inwardly focused, because now they're talking about the Panama Canal. They're talking about Greenland. They're talking about Canada and Mexico. Okay.
Interesting, isn't
it? So it's no wonder.
Anyway, Victor Davis Hanson's take on this.
It's sort of like cooperating with these people to become part of America, and it's very, very tempting to people who are living under the garbage you have to live under in some of these countries, and it would be a tremendous advantage for us because it would be protectionist too. I mean, to have a United States big presence in Greenland would be extremely protective of us from Russia mainly. So,
well, we currently have advanced radar missile warning systems there already on the western coast. And I think that would increase substantially. If you look, if Russia was going to launch intercontinental ballistic missiles to the United States, they're not going to come across the Atlantic or Pacific Ocean. They're going to come across the polar regions. That's the shortest way. And Greenland is right underneath that.
It is.
So strategically, that would be a good spot to have some advanced warning systems, much more advanced than we have currently. Our current stuff is a Cold War issue.
They're a subject of Denmark right now, and Denmark treats them like crap, and they hate Denmark.
Yeah,
and they have a lot of amazing old rocks and things like that. They got jewels there. They got gold. And
their natural resources are pretty good, and that would be a boon for us. Although you got to consider that's a pretty cool place, and getting to those things is not a trivial matter.
Don Jr. went there the other day, and they're all wearing MAGA hats. Okay,
you know, you spoke about the Panama Canal, and I had not prepped for that, but a couple of notes there. You know, we sold the Panama Canal to Panama for $1,
right?
And Trump suggests that we take it back for $1. The intention was always to help our military get from one sea to another, from Atlantic to Pacific, as a matter of defense. We sold that thing to Panama foolishly, I would say. And what did the Chinese do? They built big old seaports on either end of that thing.
Yeah.
According to what I've read, Panama charges the United States outrageous amount of money for our ships to transit that. And strategically, consider a warship that's going through that canal. What better sitting duck target would there be than one of our warships stuck in a little narrow canal only going about 3 knots? So I think from a defensive point of view, it would be good if we had the Panama Canal back. Now, we both know Donald Trump is known to say glib things. And half the time you can't tell whether he's kidding or not. Okay, that's a given. I'll buy that. I'll accept that. But I think there's a note of seriousness to the Greenland business. Maybe not so much the Canada business. Trudeau and his buddies have messed Canada up so well, I don't think we could ever straighten that out if it.
No, I think that's viable too. I do. And I think Panama is viable because China is kind of running the place, and that's not what it's supposed to do.
That's right. To have your enemies.
They're overcharging everybody, including the United States. We're getting screwed on that deal.
Yeah. Well, not for long. I suggest Donald Trump's going to straighten a whole lot of things out here pretty quick.
You're right.
Two more things, Dave. Number one, the fires in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
The place is burnt to the ground and still burning. The best fire there is only 10% under control. Santa Ana winds are blowing this thing eastward rather quickly.
Right.
Got a few comments about that. Number one, California has been left-leaning in Sacramento and other places for a good long while. They have had socialist government there. They're the second highest tax state in the United States behind New York. And what have they gotten for their money? We have fire hydrants that don't function. We have a $15 or $17 million cut in Los Angeles fire services budget by the mayor. We have environmental rules there that can fine you if you clear the debris out from around your house. They want this to look au naturel. Well, this stuff caught fire, and it's a tremendous disaster. We're talking more than $20 billion worth of damage, 10,000 structures. A lot of these places are just plain gone. And it struck me last night when I was reading about this that, and please forgive me, Pastor Pat, but this looks an awful lot like Armageddon. There are surely innocents there that didn't deserve this, but there are plenty of people there that signed up for this, probably deserve this. So if this smacks a little bit of biblical, in my mind it does, but then I'm a far right-wing nut job, so nobody pays an awful lot of attention to what I have to say anyway. But this looks an awful lot like Armageddon to me, at least for the folks that live in those neighborhoods.
Well, it is.
Our buddy Joe Biden. Now this is so far unverified, Dave. I read this only from one source and ran out of time. But apparently Joe Biden is going to cover the cost of all of this stuff.
Yeah, how about that? No, it's not Joe Biden. It's going to be you and me.
Well, of course.
Other taxpayers.
Now, I wonder if he did the same thing for those folks up in Hickory, North Carolina, or have they ever gotten their $750 yet?
Too many MAGAs there.
We have a bifurcated justice system in this country. Apparently, we have a bifurcated social system in this country as well under these left-leaning clowns. This just another failure of Biden. He's thumbing his nose at the folks that put the knife between his ribs a little while back. And he's thumbing his nose at the rest of us citizens who end up ultimately stuck with this thing. Anyway, as far as California goes, it's burning pretty thoroughly, and I feel very bad for the folks that live there. I know how I would feel if my house was burnt to the ground, and our entire little neighborhood out here burnt to the ground. I'd be pretty unhappy.
Did you know that
literally have no place to go.
JJ, did you know that in 2018, Donald Trump was standing in California with Governor Newsom and said, you ought to do something with the undergrowth under these trees that are all dry and could go off in a minute. You ought to do what the Europeans do. They come out and they rake them up and they get rid of all this undergrowth. And that was in 2018. And there's a clip of him actually saying so. Did this guy take heed to that? Hell no.
It's worse than that, Dave. California has some of the wackiest environmental laws that there are. They diverted fresh water from the north into the ocean to save the striped snail darter.
And they need that. They had no water. These are firemen walking around with
they have environmental
firemen with women's purses filled with water trying to throw it into the flames with just these purses. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Just about.
This was bound to happen eventually, and it turned into quite a mess. And apparently, what I was seeing this morning early on Fox News, there are a mighty big number of folks in California who are saying Newsom's got to go. The mayor of Los Angeles has got to go.
Oh, yeah.
These policies have resulted in a disaster. And I mentioned the environmental laws in California are some of the kookiest I've ever heard of. There are townships in California, I think Malibu was one of them, that preclude you from raking up the debris around your house. They want it to look natural.
Sure.
Well, it looks naturally like ash at this point. And what a crime to allow the insane to run your government. There's something wrong with that.
Something weird about being on the largest ocean right there, the largest ocean in the world, the Pacific Ocean, and having all this water in northern California, and they can't put out anything there. I mean, they just now are getting some of these fires into control where they had zero control early this morning. And now they're going to have another Anna, whatever they call it, winds.
Santa
Ana winds, and it's going to happen all again. I mean, what's left? I don't know what's left. Trump ought to buy California. That's what needs to happen. Trump should make it. He ought to buy it all. Okay.
No, I think they're too far gone. I think we ought to build a border wall on the eastern border of California and say, you guys have got it. You've messed us up so thoroughly, we really don't want any part of you.
Yeah, China will come in and take it. Okay.
Yeah, they'll build a big seaport there. They're already running the longshoremen in Long Beach.
They're doing this all
Dave,
over the
I've got
world.
A parting shot for you here if you're ready.
Right,
we're up against the clock.
Let's do it.
The Federal District Court of the Eastern District of Kentucky made a ruling on Tennessee versus Cardin. Well, you've never heard of this, right? But you have heard of Title IX. Title IX was meant back when it was enacted to give women equal rights in all things.
Right.
And it was a relatively simple piece of legislation. The Bidens have been messing with this ever since. And they, like Saul Alinsky did in his book, you change the definition of things. So what Biden's rewrite of Title IX did is every place there was mentioned male or female biologic, they changed that to gender identity.
Yeah.
And gender identity, by doing that, by that little bitty change, it allowed men and women in women's locker rooms, men in women's sports, all of these awful things that have occurred as a result of that Title IX rewrite. The judge in the Eastern District Court of Kentucky said, and it was an amazing 2-page decision, said that A, this was wrong, it violated the law, but B, it violated the Constitution, equal protection under the law.
Right.
One of the earliest Bill of Rights writings. Now, no doubt the Biden DOJ, if they had time, would attempt to push this up to the Supreme Court.
Sure.
They don't have time. Trump is going to cut the head off of DOJ and this thing will die the quiet death that it needed to die. So it turns out those of us who actually have some common sense, which has become quite uncommon at this point in our history, actually won that one. Title IX is now going to go back to the way it was originally written, which was a fairly simple document that said women are equal to men, period.
I'll tell you who
Use a whole lot of words to get to that.
JJ, I'll tell you who the big warrior is for that, and that is a gal by the name of Riley Gaines. Okay, I gave her some money, and she actually sent me a big jar of honey. I mean, it was really good. I drink it every morning with my coffee, and this gal is number one. She is tough. She was a swimmer. She was a national champion swimmer, and this huge guy they put him on her team, and naturally he won. 6'4", and just wiped him out. And she took it to court, and she's a winner. So you might want to look at that.
She won.
By the way, you want to hang on for a minute? I've got some people here who've said something. I don't know if you're going to be connected to this or not, but I'll give you an extra minute of time if I could. Patricia, Odin, Maxwell, sounding good, looking good. Go team. That was JJ. Yes, we already heard from him. Good morning from Christopher Ranzini, the Godfather. Have a beautiful snowy day, and then forget about it. All right, who's next? Me wish Samuel. Please request your prayer for me financial need. Okay, I hope things work out for you. Christopher Ranzini. Who needs water? More of fish, or people whose houses are on fire because there is no water in the fire hydrants. Okay. All right. Anyone else? All right. That's it. If you want to call the show, 573-578-2700, or
you can also reach us on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble. I had to think about that. We're in so many places now.
Okay, my friend, you take care of yourself, and thank you once again for being the opening act to the Dave Weinbaum.
It has been my pleasure, Dave. I'll be talking with you next Friday.
I can't wait. All right, thanks a lot, pal. Okay, and let's talk about some of the stuff. And maybe we'll get another commercial in here pretty quickly, because we do have we got Chris Adamo coming on at 9:30, right? And then we got the McCloskeys, and then we got Mark Lee Dixon. This is a great show, a great comeback show. We're coming back from vacation, okay? And so, anyways, let's see. Oh, I got stuff here for just general stuff, but Alex Jones. On Elon Musk's report that England has been the largest pedophile country for 15 years. This is just coming out in the news, and they had a hearing in the Parliament in England, and they're that's where they yell at each other and stuff like that. And the guys refuse to analyze this, to cover it. This is incredible stuff. They are actually passing little children around for 15 years to use them as sex objects. And that's going to be interesting. Will we have the Epstein list soon after Trump becomes the president, and after Robert Kennedy becomes the secretary to HHS? Are we going to see the documents pertaining to the murders of John F. Kennedy and his father, Robert F. Kennedy? Okay, so that's going to be interesting. Jerusalem Post, when Blinken put pressure on Israel, Hamas backtracked the hostage deal because they knew they had more time. This guy, the Biden administration, has sponsored more death for Muslims and Jews and Christians than almost anybody in history. They called, somebody just said that Richard Nixon was the worst president ever. All I know about him is this. Him and Kissinger saved Israel in 1973 in the war with Egypt. It was a surprise attack on Yom Kippur, and they didn't have to do that. You think Biden would do that? Hell no. You think Trump would do it? Hell yeah. He'd do it. Okay. Do you think Jimmy Carter would have done it? Hell no. There's no way. He didn't like the Jews either, all right? I don't have a lot of sympathy for him. Okay. What else we got? Let's see.
We had one new comment that came in.
That's from Chris. It's getting long there, buddy. You got to keep them short. All right, let's see what we got. Then we'll do commercial. In Israel, they have desalinators. Oh, okay. They position them next to the waters to make water and then pipe it through the land for maintenance of fires and water for citizens. Israel is so outstanding with their technology and research and development. Awesome. You would think that the liberal political party would invest time into preparing and preventing this tragedy. The other thing, political liberals do nothing until their homes catch fire with experience. And yes, I would agree with that. And then they blame somebody else. Okay, and then they'll blame Republicans. All right.
Or Trump.
Or Trump, yeah. Okay, we're going to take another commercial, and then we'll come back with Chris Adamo and some other great things to talk about. Hit it.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rala, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
With warmer temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rala, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the #1 sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
At Town & Country Bank, we are committed to providing exceptional service to our customers. We do more than just provide loans for our community. We help make dreams become reality. Whether it's a new home, farm, business, or a new car, we would love the opportunity to help. Stop by one of our 2 Rala locations and let our friendly lending team remind you how special hometown banking can be. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
The #1 job is to secure the nation for the federal government. Our border is broken. I wanted it fixed by February the 17th. To the tax cut wing of the party, I am with you, but if you hold border security hostage to get tax cuts, you're playing Russian roulette with our national security.
And isn't therein the point right there, Senator? Because if you don't get everything all in one bill, don't you lose some members? You just said it yourself. The Democrats are not going to vote for $100 billion for the border. So isn't that important that you link taxes with border and energy?
Well, here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that as we negotiate tax cuts, they're tax cutting people, and I'm one of them, that won't vote for border until they get all their taxes. I'm not a big fan of the SALT deduction. I live in South Carolina where we have low taxes. Why should people in South Carolina subsidize California and New York tax policy? What does President Trump want the most? To make us safe and prosperous. How many times did he talk about a broken immigration system on the campaign trail? For every time he talked about taxes, he talked about broken illegal immigration 10 times. I know where his heart is. This is a political problem. We have to do it all together because we have a political problem. We have a national security problem. I am hoping that Mike Johnson, who is the right man for the job, I am so glad he got to be Speaker. He's a wonderful man. I hope he can do this by May. But here's what I want America to understand. Every day that we don't deport a violent criminal is another day that we're exposed to their actions. Every day we don't shut down that border is another day for terrorists to come in. And every day we delay in combating the fentanyl problem. 3,000 Americans die every 2 weeks. But my purpose on this show today is to warn Americans that this broken border is a national security nightmare. Donald Trump has a plan to fix it. It costs $100 billion. If we can get him the money, that's all he needs to fix it for 4 years. Yeah. No Democrat is going to help us, folks. If you think they're going to help us, you shouldn't be allowed to drive.
Well, I understand all of that for sure, but can't some of these things that you're envisioning that will belong in this first reconciliation package, can't that be done by executive order? I mean, I'm being told that one of the first executive orders that President Trump is going to issue is to freeze all pending rulemaking. freeze all pending, and then can't he get executive orders on permitting there and perhaps something else on energy?
Sure.
Why must it all be there for in the first package?
Well, he needs money to hire ICE agents. You can't do that by executive order.
And that was President Biden awarding Hillary Clinton the nation's highest civilian award. That is the Presidential Medal of Freedom, happening yesterday, along with George Soros also receiving this honor, among others. Also, Biden awarded former Congresswoman Liz Cheney the Presidential Citizens Medal. That's the nation's second highest civilian medal for her work as the vice chair of the Special House Committee investigating the events at the Capitol on January 6th, almost 4 years to the date. Tomorrow, the protests over the Capitol over the 2020 election. Tomorrow is January 6th. Biden reportedly also considering issuing a presumptive pardon for Liz Cheney after House Republicans recently called for an FBI investigation into the former Wyoming representative for witness tampering during her work on the January 6th committee.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Every time Biden awards a Cheney or a Soros, Republicans gain 1 year more of rule. Okay, how did you like that little deal? All right. I don't know who that idiot was that said that stuff like a little girl.
We just had a strange voice
Who the hell was
take
that?
over the show all of a sudden.
God,
I don't know where that came from.
I'm a 76-year-old man. I don't do little children like that. Talk like them. I don't think so. That was just kind of weird. I don't know what happened. Anyways, just here are a few rumors. One rumor is that Musk is to buy CBS after 120. Well, that would be pretty interesting, and God knows he can afford it. And the other one is that Starlink is now on United Airlines for free. How's that? How does that work out? And that comes out of is it Starlink? Yeah, from Elon Musk. Wow. So that'll be interesting to see how him and Vivek, who by the way he's a business partner to my lawyer, Vivek Patel. His business partners with Vivek Ramaswamy. All right.
So kind of inside connection there a little bit.
I guess so, yeah. It hasn't done me any good. I don't know.
Oh, maybe they can make a call for us, try to get them on the show.
Well, I was thinking about that with Vivek, and it just didn't happen. So
that'd be interesting, though.
I can't even get my own lawyer on the show, Vivek himself.
Oh, well, yeah.
He doesn't want to do that. He's actually in charge of the whole organization. It's a huge law firm in St. Louis, Kansas City. I think they got Dallas offices. I don't know.
So he doesn't have the pull then to get Ramaswamy on the show?
Well, I don't know if I've asked him yet. So
that might be a call worth making. I mean, the worst they can do is say no.
I like Ramaswamy. He's and he's on this thing with the Elon Musk to find out all the waste. So Trump I understand why he wants the leverage of having the debt being able to go up above where it is right now. I mean, because he's going to find a lot of stuff that they're going to cut out, and but there's going to be a fight over everything probably. I think Trump is he's just so much in a better position than he was in 2016. I mean, did you see him sitting there at the Jimmy Carter funeral in D.C., where he's sitting there gabbing to Barack Obama like he's an old friend? They're sitting there laughing and telling stories. I thought these guys hated each other. And then when Bush walks up to his seat, he slaps Obama in the chest. What the heck is that? So, is that nothing?
I don't know.
You can try. Hi there. Welcome to the Dave Weinbaum Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, David. It's Gannon, Essington with Matthews Real Estate. Am I catching you at a bad time this morning?
Well, I'm on a podcast show. So how much real estate are you going to give me?
Well, I'm calling you because we got a Dollar Tree for sale here in Missouri.
Oh, great.
Cuba
All right. Well, I can't
can't
talk to you right now because I'm on a show. I'm on a podcast. We're all over the world.
Okay, no
all right. I want you to pay for this as a commercial. Okay. All right. Thank you. Get off my phone, please. Thank you. You can call me later.
Take care.
Bye. All right. Well, you talk to anybody. What the hell?
It didn't say spam, so normally that's my first sign of spam or telemarketer. I'm like, probably not. But
oh well. See, this is live.
Yep.
Okay. This
We're
is what
definitely
you
live.
get when you get live. You get a lot of. You watch the shows. You watch. You watch Fox News and all the other shows, and they always have stuff that go wrong with the audio. They always have this.
I'd like to say now, of course, they're on more frequently than we are, so we take that into account. But I think they have more issues than we even do.
I think they have an issue with every show, just about. And it's considered normal, and they know how to handle it. And now I'm figuring out how to handle it. Well, you just go with the flow. You go with the flow until you know where the sewers are. Then you got to be real careful right there. All right. So, all right, let's talk about some other stuff here. We haven't done any funny stuff though. Let's do.
I don't know that It's a Wonderful Life thing was pretty funny.
Did you think it was funny?
Yeah. I like that idea.
Do you like that guy with the
I don't know where he came from, but it was entertaining.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Hey, let me know what you think about that too. If you want to send it in, did you think that was a good idea or not? That thing with the Wonderful Life and the angels get their wings with every time a bell rings. It was so sweet, wasn't it?
Wait, did that guy just show up again?
No, that was me imitating the
Oh,
girl.
gotcha.
I don't
Okay,
know about
gotcha.
the other
Gotcha.
guy. Who
Okay.
the hell was he?
I don't know. We're still trying to figure that out. I think maybe the FBI took over our show for about 15 seconds.
Yeah, they used to always listen in. Now they
used to shadow ban.
We're getting so much better ratings now that these guys stopped banning me. I think you never know for sure. And here he is. Zuckerberg has finally admitted that they were banning people over BS, over opinions.
Oh,
all right.
There you go.
So, my lovely little bride, who I said to stay at home, she said, "Very nice, honey." And I don't know what she's talking about, but thank you.
We
so
still
much.
got to figure out who that guy was because
Yeah.
we might be able to get him to do some more bits for us.
Yeah,
if this really gets over the top.
All right, call the show if you were that person that was doing the bit about being a little girl.
You may have to ask Chris. Maybe it was
My
Chris
wife.
Adamo.
Apparently, my wife liked that.
Yeah,
I think that's what she was referring to.
I believe so because we asked people to comment if they
Yeah.
like that bit. So
Yeah, anyone else let me know. I got to know. Because it's hard. It's hard to know what people like and don't like. You like it, and sometimes it goes well, and sometimes it doesn't. If you ever watch Gutfeld, I'd say about maybe 20% of his jokes don't work, but he keeps on going. And this other guy he's got working for him, Tom Palou or Halou or something like that. He's
remember.
much better than Gutfeld. He's much funnier than Gutfeld.
right.
And we've used him a lot.
Gutfeld was he's very sarcastically funny, whereas the other guy is just I don't know.
Well, he's also sarcastic.
Yeah, but he delivers it even better.
He delivers it in a style like Gutfeld has.
Yep.
Only he's funnier.
Yeah, he's better.
Well, Gutfeld is not a paid comedian per se. He's actually a pretty smart guy, and he's got a lot of insight, and that's why I like to listen to him. I like to listen to Jesse Waters, the Judge Janine. I like the five. It's fun to listen to.
What I even love is we showed that clip from CNN on New Year's Eve blasting the Dems, and we have another. I guess he's a Dem, Jimmy Walker, who.
Oh yeah,
blasts, and he did a good job with it.
Well, why don't we have him on?
Well, we can do that.
Hit it.
The easiest scandal to follow was the Trump document scandal. That was the one that was easy to follow. It was simple. There's some stuff that's supposed to be in the White House that ain't. And the media, y'all did y'all's job. Y'all jumped on that story. As soon as the Trump document story broke, everybody was down in Mar-a-Lago. We're reporting live from the documents, and we're going to find them. And then we found out Joe Biden had documents too, and it was like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Everybody got documents. Everybody got documents. Mike Pence had some documents. Who care about it? Oh, look, a Chinese spy balloon. Would you look at that?
And we have our next guest there, ready to go. He's a pizza plugger for the Witness Protection Program in Wyoming. That's the Wyoming chapter. Actually, he is, if I can read this, he's a conservative author, and he personally pushed Liz Cheney to the curb. Please welcome Chris Adamo. And his book is named, what is it?
Asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Rules for Defeating Radicals, and the subtitle is Countering the Alinsky Strategy in Politics and Culture.
When you're writing your next book?
I don't know. I tell you what, things have gotten so insane. It's hard to even keep up lately with all the lunacy going on. I would say, and I know this is going to sound a little self-aggrandizing, but people still need to read this one, because when you look at how just all the things we've got to talk about in the last week, everything from California to the New York so-called court case, everything, politics trumps reality with these people. I'm talking about the left. It's like nothing means anything to them except politics. How can they take any situation and spin it politically to their advantage? And until we understand that simple, basic truth and respond to them that way and say, no, you're just playing politics. You're not on any moral high ground. You're not making a good point. You're not showing compassion. You're just playing politics, and we're going to shoot them down that way. Until we get to that point, we're going to be stuck.
Isn't the what's happening in LA, isn't that a perfect example of the incompetence of the mayor and the governor and Joe Biden?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's twofold.
Weasel their ways out of this. How are they going to do that?
It's two. Yep, you just nailed it. Weasel their way out. It's twofold. Exactly. It's proof of first of all, the incompetence with which they have run things, because it's their policies, their environmental policies and everything else that set the stage for this disaster. Okay. The other thing, though, is you do not hear from any of these people saying, you know what, we screwed up putting whatever that little fish was, we put it ahead of the lives of these people. We screwed up. No, you're not going to hear that. You're going to hear climate change, and Gavin Newsom is out saying, well, Donald Trump is trying to politicize this. And what is Gavin Newsom doing? What is the mayor of LA doing? They're politicizing these things. They're saying that somehow it wasn't their fault. This is a direct result of leftist ideology. This is what it does one way or another. Wherever it takes hold, it turns into a disaster.
It's so obvious in this case. There's no question about it. The mayor was caught talking to Trump in 2018. Trump telling him, you got to do something with this underbrush because it's going to catch fire one day and it's going to burn places down. Yeah, and sure enough, he didn't do it.
Well, that's because Trump is racist, or let's see, climate change.
We're not going to listen to him. He's an idiot.
Yeah. So every step of the way, every situation we face, these people will come up with some. And I'm telling you, if you listen to them and you watch them, they sound like fourth graders, because they have literally never matured beyond that level, because they learned back then, with the way that the society was starting to pander to them and everything, they could throw these tantrums and make these little excuses, these childish excuses that we used to slap a little brat down if he did that. Shut up, clean your room or whatever. No, you can't do that. That's abuse. Okay. And these people that have gone through life making these stupid excuses and getting away with it. Did you see that firewoman that made the excuse that the reason she couldn't drag the guy out of the house is he shouldn't have been there in the first place? I mean, it's like are they serious? Yeah, they're serious. They've never had to get beyond that.
They have to hold on to. I mean, everything they did was wrong. They had no water. They had firemen with purses, women's purses, filling water and then trying to throw it onto a fire somewhere.
Yeah,
I mean, it was almost like watching a comedy.
Yeah, really, really bad comedy. I absolutely agree with you. The problem is here now, and I'm going to kind of switch shoes here. The problem is the ultimate people who are to blame for all of this is all of those on our side who saw this happening and knew that it was idiocy, that it was childish idiocy. We should have said, you guys are a bunch of idiots doing this, and we're not going to go along with it. Well, we tried to, reach across the aisle and find common ground and all of this garbage, when what we need to have done back then, and no less now, is stand up to it and say, no, I'm not playing these stupid DEI games. I'm not playing in. And if you want to call me a racist, go ahead, because if the person in that spot happens to be incompetent, I don't care what color they are, they're incompetent.
Bingo. The McDonald's has made an announcement. They're gonna drop DEI.
Good.
It's amazing. I mean, and I
never have been there in the first place.
Huh?
When I come into your McDonald's, I want a certain quality of food that I'm looking for, and I don't care what the person looks like behind the counter.
Exactly.
If they do their job, great, I'm happy. If they don't do their job, out the door they should go.
Now Zuckerberg has kissed the Trump ring along with Google.
Google's now lining up.
Oh yeah. They all give him $1 million, but Zuckerberg has actually gone on with a 5-minute rant about how he feels terrible about all the lies that he
I listened to that little interview of his, and I'm telling you, for starters, it's pathetic. It's again another childish effort at dodging accountability. He pretty much said in one breath, well, they made me do it. Then in another breath, he actually came out and said, well, the reason I'm changing policy here is because of the election. Well, what's he saying? If Kamala Harris had gotten elected, he wouldn't have changed policy. So is he standing for the right thing, or is he trying to cover his sorry little backside? And he absolutely promoted a narrative of lies for the last, it's not just the last 4 years, it's the last dozen years since they started all this fact checking.
He takes himself out of that by saying the fact checkers did it.
Yeah, well, pointing a finger once again. Yep, you're absolutely right.
Pointing a finger at somebody else. And, but it's amazing to see all these people line up. Apple. And
now here's what to watch for, Dave. Here's what to be careful of. You're going to start to see the Lindsey Grahams and all of these kinds of people. You're going to start to see them say, well, okay, they admit they're wrong. Now let's get rid of the discord and rancor and build unity in the country and go forward.
Yeah.
And what that's saying is, okay, there's a stage 2 cancer that was going to go to stage 4, but we stopped it. Now let's just leave all those little tumors in place. And then the next time we get a Democrat in the White House, they can all go back and start growing and metastasizing again. The people who say that we should start trying to get along and mend fences and things like this, those people are part of the problem. They need to be recognized as no less the enemy than Barack Obama.
There's no real compromise on something like the fire in L.A. There's no way to compromise that.
Or speaking the truth on Meta. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, in 10 years from now, if they're still there doing the right thing, well, maybe you could say, well, maybe now they've got it finally. But right now, no, you can't trust them.
And the ones who are absolutely, for example, there's several people in Hollywood that have over the last several years have gone totally against the Hollywood establishment and started going after them.
Yeah.
And say, no, you know what? I'm still a patriot. I'm still a Christian. I'm still pro-America. I'm not going to do this. People like Kevin Sorbo. And what have they faced? They've faced attack after attack.
Sure.
Okay. Now those people I'll stand with, but just for example, Barbara Streisand just came out and said, well, the reason for the fires is climate change. Okay. Which what is this? This is cover your sorry little leftist base with this platitude of climate change, because you're not going to admit the truth. Okay. These people can never, ever be trusted again. They shouldn't have been trusted for a long time. And frankly, it's been quite a while that I've been noting who is who among these people, and I won't go see their stinking movies.
Yeah, well, you got a point, and all these guys who settle out, not all of them, but I've been following James Wood.
Yeah,
and he had a house burned down there, and he's a conservative.
Yeah, and I was going to say he's a good one because you can look at the fact that he has stood against this insanity for many years, and he has faced total ostracization, total blacklisting. He's faced all of that, and he's just it's wrong, and I'm not going to say it's right if it's wrong.
Sure.
So,
but he lived through this. He's got $5 million homes is what they got, and a lot of these homes are well over $200 million.
I will tell you this. I left California in the 1980s, and
you came from California?
I had lived there for a couple of years. When I got out of the Air Force, I went into the aerospace business, and at that time, before the Challenger blew up, California was the center of America's aerospace industry, Southern California in particular. And so I worked for a couple of big aerospace companies out there, and I can tell you that there was a good, strong conservative base. Orange County, California was known to be conservative until they started their ballot harvesting and stuff. But there was also this lunatic leftist ideology creeping in that, that a man can become a woman and all this nonsense. We were seeing that in the 1980s in California. Yeah. And the problem was that the people who knew better were trying to get along. They're trying to find common ground.
Right.
What's the common ground between right and wrong? It's some version of wrong. And so they weren't standing against it the way they should even back then.
Well, and you go back and you talk about the 80s. Well, Ronald Reagan was the governor of, he was the governor, and he was also the head guy in the union for the actors.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting guy that actually made it through all the garbage and became the president. He probably could have done a better job, but he did a pretty damn good one, don't you think?
Well, when you look at what he was up against, when you look, boy, we can talk all day about who he followed there because of this week's funeral, Jimmy Carter.
Oh, yeah.
I again, this was before I went to California. I was in the Air Force during the Carter years, and Carter. You look at this garbage going on in Southern California right now, the disaster it's reaping. Yeah. Carter was setting the stage for that with the United States military, with national policy. Carter's biggest legacy, if history is ever going to actually be told in its proper terms, Carter's biggest legacy, excuse me, is he should be called the father of modern militant Islam. Because when you look at his foreign policy, he was the one that undermined the Shah and allowed the Ayatollahs to take power in Iran. Right. And from there, you had a base of international Islamist terrorism that we didn't stand
and hold all those Americans as hostages.
Yep.
Just like now. I mean, it's so amazingly similar.
Yeah, the pattern is the same. Yeah, they are who they are.
Now that Trump is saying by the 20th, they all need to be accounted for and they need to be out.
Yeah. Okay. And I've heard just in the last few days, they killed off a bunch of them. There needs to be consequences. We need to be unafraid to hold our enemies accountable when they harm us.
And that's where Israel comes in. I talked to the rabbi earlier, and we talked about the fact that, you've got finally somebody is taking this seriously enough to where it's no longer a game. You need to eliminate these people, period. You need to eliminate them, and all of a sudden these miracles start happening. And what I'm saying to him is that's what happens when you actually try to do it yourself and ask God for guidance.
When you do the right thing.
Do it all. Just ask for guidance, but you have the right idea in the first place.
Yeah, you don't make a mess to try and get along and please people and then ask God to fix everything. No, if you stand for what's right, then you're in a position. It does say in Scripture, the effectual fervent prayer of the righteous man availeth much. I believe that's in Proverbs. And the point being, if you're doing the right thing, you ask God for help. Nowhere in Scripture does it say do the wrong thing and ask God to cover for you, because that doesn't work. And frankly, that's if there have been any appeals to God by our leftists in power, whether in America or across the world, that's been how it's been. Is okay, we made a mess. We believe in making a mess. We're going to do evil. Now make everything nice and happy for us instead. Don't expect
after 18 ceasefires since 2005, where they throw a couple of rockets into Israel, and Israel would throw a couple of rockets back, and then they'd have another ceasefire, and Gaza would get all this money.
Let's appease them. Let's
get all the money.
Let's placate them.
Would get maybe another 6 or 8 months or a year, maybe, of peace, and it would start all over again.
Yeah.
I told the rabbi as they were doing this before the October 7th attack, I says, "Why are you doing this? What is the purpose of them getting to do this all the time? You should just knock them out, period. They're trying to destroy you."
How much pressure was coming from our government to do that?
Pardon me?
How much pressure was coming from our government for Israel to pull their punches and play nice?
An awful lot of it. Absolutely. They were listening to America, just like Biden tried to control the situation. And finally, Netanyahu put his damn foot down and said,
which he had to, absolutely.
It's not going to happen anymore. We're stopping this. So hopefully they're going to follow through on this. So far they are.
Yep.
Okay.
And he's faced so much international pressure, including from the United States, and that's a disgrace.
He's been indicted all over the world for what? Protecting his country.
For standing up against these people, for hitting back when they started. October 6th, Netanyahu had no intention of bothering anyone.
Yeah.
And so, this is kind of like the United States after Pearl Harbor saying, we need to hit back at the Japanese. Oh my gosh, you're just nowadays they'd be saying you're a bunch of racists, you're anti-Asian or whatever. And the excuses are made. And no, when you realize you have an enemy that is bent on attacking, killing, and destroying you as a country, no, you've got to defeat that enemy.
October 6th, 2023 was a Friday. And, I had the rabbi on the show. And JP was a witness to this. And I said, so how's your, everything was going good. And I said, so how's your intel? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, is there anyone thinking of attacking you now or what? And he says, no, we don't know of anybody. Neither does America. Everybody seems okay.
Yep.
And he says, I'm just wondering because, 50 years ago, about this time, you had an attack in 1973, and it almost crippled the state. You almost lost the war. Richard Nixon actually saved them, by the way. Richard Nixon and Kissinger saved them. And I said, are you sure? Well, he says, anything can happen, Dave, but right now we feel like we're in really good shape. 6 hours later is when they attacked. 6 hours later.
Unprovoked and given over to the same ideology that has driven them since Ishmael. Okay, so we're talking millennia of this ideology of rabid jealousy and hatred that is just, it's like there's nothing you can do to appease, to placate, to build bridges with these people.
Well, maybe so, but let's see what Trump's experiment with, and this is part of the reason why they were attacked, is because Saudi Arabia was getting real close to sign on with the Abraham Accords.
Well,
and they didn't want that.
What he's looking at doing again is establishing peace through strength. Okay. Yeah. And this does work. It's when your enemy knows that they can either play along and not be put in the crosshairs, or if they think they're going to get nasty and start doing something, that it's going to come back on them. Okay. And this is the only thing these people understand. all of the let's all get along and give a little bit of land here and a little bit of land there. How long has Israel been doing that under pressure from the United States? You remember during the Clinton years,
and sort of like when they were first a new country, I think they just didn't know how to handle that kind of power. Like they split Jerusalem. Why would you do that? Okay, come on. You just won this war. Jerusalem is from God. All right, that's God's city, for goodness sakes. It's hardly even mentioned in the what are the books for the what's the main book for religion in I can't remember the name offhand. For Arabs. For
the Quran?
Yeah, the Quran.
Oh, okay.
It's mentioned. Well,
I thought this was a trick question.
No, I have plenty of that for you later. But actually, it was your failure not to know this. Anyways, he's not smiling. Look at he's pissed.
Oh yeah, I am. No, that was the instant answer. But no, I get your point. In all seriousness,
no, but they're saying the Jews own the land.
Yeah.
God gave the Jews the land of Israel, and it's a lot bigger. God's map was a lot bigger than.
Now let's take two examples here and just compare them to each other. Let's take Gaza and what happened in Gaza prior to October 7th. They're given money, do your infrastructure. You can have a nice life here. You got this land. You can build your Palestinian community, your utopia, whatever. And what did they do with it? They took it. They used everything to do their tunnels. They build their terrorist network. Okay, now they're going to inflict as much harm as they can on Israel, and now they're going to scream and cry because they're paying a price for it. Now let's take that. Let's compare that to the LA basin with the fires. Okay, that they get all of this infrastructure that they could have had, these reservoirs for water. They could have dealt with the underbrush and things like this. And what do? No, rather than doing the right thing, what they do is they focus all their energy on an ideology. And their ideology is this I don't even know what you want to call it, this eco-Marxism that they engage in. And they set the stage, and then the fires hit. And it's all look what victims we are. Look at all the abuse over in Gaza. It's look at all the Jewish genocide they're committing against us. Now, wait a minute. Who started shooting? If Israel's guilty of anything, it's shooting back, and yet they're committing the genocide. And what will these people do the minute they have an opportunity to attack again? You think they're going to say, you know what, it didn't work so well last time. We are going to focus on building our communities.
And another thing is they found out the value of hostages.
Yep.
When Biden made the deal to get the hostages out of Iran before the war started, and they saw they were getting $1 billion plus for each one of those. Think about what Hezbollah was thinking. Holy cow, what a way to make money.
Yeah. Well,
and we look at what we get.
And use them as human shields the whole time.
Yeah, human shields and all the other things. And, we get to rape the women, kill the babies, kill the...
And I will go back to other stuff. I will go back to the fact that anybody who tries to tell me that Biden made a single executive decision in the last 4 years, I'm going to tell you, you are a willing idiot. You are choosing to be absolutely stupid and unaware of what's gone on around you. You know what Biden was talking about yesterday in the midst of all this this disaster in Los Angeles and everything? You know what he's talking about? He's talking about being a great grandpa. Okay, Biden is, yes, he's the iconic leftist bad guy right now, but we need to understand he is a mindless puppet. There's somebody behind Biden making the actual decisions, and that's the guilty party we need to go after.
You're talking about Obama.
Absolutely, sure. Barack Obama.
And his group of people.
Yep.
Obama stayed in Washington, D.C., only president to ever do that, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
He did that, and he from the beginning was working to undermine anything that Donald Trump did as president. Now,
and so what's Trump doing? Messing around with him? He's there having a wonderful time talking to Barack Obama.
You know what, Trump. I'm guessing at this point, Trump is playing a game. He's going, the cameras are on us. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not going to sit here and punch this guy out, which is what he deserves. We're just going to sit here and talk. And I tell you, I don't underestimate this, Dave. We have got a very major 10 days ahead of us.
Yeah, I know.
Because we haven't gotten this leftist monster out yet.
Yeah.
We got all kinds of things going on. Trump he's basically playing his hand close. And when the time comes, it's not going to be a matter of him physically getting out there and pointing a finger in Obama's face and saying, I'm out to get you. It's a matter of setting the mechanism in place to actually start going after these treasonous, that word, treasonous crimes that these people have committed for the last 4 years. Okay. You don't do it believe me, if I was Trump sitting next to Obama, the temptation to just reach across and smack him, but what do you really accomplish with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's, you're sort of like, I understand. I mean, but it's not consistent. Him talking nice to Obama is not consistent with your attitude towards all this. You know that, and I know that.
No, and like I said, but Trump is playing, he's playing a strategic game.
Yeah, okay? I think you're right.
Consider this. Now, consider the fact that since November 5th, he has been meeting with world leaders. He's been changing world politics. When has that ever happened before? Meeting with world leaders.
And they're treating him. Do you see him at the Notre Dame resurrection of that particular church in France, where everybody was staring at him, including Jill Biden and everyone else? All the foreign leaders were just... They were all focused on him.
Yeah. When have we ever seen that with a president-elect? The point is that everybody knows that this thing in Washington right now is a facade. It's not going to get anything policy-wise actually accomplished. It's going to play dirty tricks for the next 10 days, but they're not actually going to implement good policy or actual valid policy. Okay. And look at what Trump has been doing again with the world leaders. He picks and chooses. You know what? I like you to, the Italian lady, I forget her name. I like you. Now she's got standing. Okay. Trudeau, you're a joke. Trudeau's out. Okay. Yeah. And this is because the Trump administration, as it's coming together, has that kind of diplomatic clout.
Well, I think you're right. All right, listen, we're coming to the end here. Other than Dave Weinbaum, and I didn't get all my questions in, but I got most of them in.
Well, give me one more. Right. Go ahead.
Comments on Trump news about Mexico, Panama Canal, Greenland, and Canada.
Again, people are taking those things literally. Will we actually rename the Gulf of Mexico, et cetera? No, what he is saying, what he's doing is he's asserting his diplomatic power. And the big picture is what you need to look at. Forget the little specifics. We're not talking about making Greenland the 51st state or anything. We're talking about, is Trump going to be dominant on the world scene in Greenland, in Canada, in Mexico? The answer is yes.
I think there's a shot at it. I think the people of Greenland, if I saw a thing from Charlie Kirk that he went on this flight, I think with Trump Jr., and Donald Trump Jr., and they flew to Greenland, and they talked to a bunch of people. They're all wearing MAGA hats. Serious. They hate the Dutch. They hate Denmark.
Or the Danes, yeah.
They treat them like crap, and they got so many. They want to be in America. All right?
At the very least, there's going to be a much, much closer alliance between the Danish people and America.
Okay, I got to end now.
Okay.
Because I have a lawyer on here.
Uh-oh.
Lawyers there. Oh my gosh. I got to be real
So
careful.
there's my book. You can get it at Amazon. You still need to read it. We need to learn how to fight the left, not according to their rules, according to ours.
All right. So I just use this joke, darn it, but I can't.
I
can't use it on you now. But I have others. Don't worry. I've got others. I just wrote a bunch of them here. Now, if I could
and Lisa's not even there to run block for me.
Why did the big cat refuse to go out with the other big cat? You know? Don't sit there like you're dead.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the crushing punchline.
Well, she was a cheetah. and you're a schmuck for not laughing. But I do love you. All right, thank you. Have a great weekend.
Good to see you. Keep up the good work. God bless.
God bless. All right, and now we have a couple of real winners there. Look at them. Look at them. Don't they look? What a couple. This is I love these people. Yeah, they're a little nutty, but hey. So Pat and Mark are American heroes who faced 250 or 350 Antifa, Black Lives Matters under the leadership of ex-Congresswoman Cori Bush, their favorite, I think. And they had one pistol and a rifle. Please welcome all the way, I believe, from St. Louis, Mark and Pat McLusky. So has Judge Meekin gotten his trophy yet for getting the opportunity to sentence Donald Trump yet?
Well, he gave him an unconditional release. I haven't got a chance to hear the actual tirade yet, but apparently Trump unloaded on him big time this morning.
He did?
Now that no matter what he said, he wasn't going to go to jail or even pay a fine or do probation. So I can't wait to hear all the juicy parts, but apparently Trump was in fine form this morning.
So he actually talked back to the judge. He didn't appear in person, though.
Told him off. No, virtual. He was on TV, but told him off and told him what BS the whole prosecution was and what a bunch of nonsense this was and what a made-up charge it was and how they put on Michael Cohen, a convicted discharged felon, and had to come on and testify like he was George Washington.
And this was about Michael Cohen. It was about the gal. What was her name?
Stormy?
Huh?
Stormy Daniels.
Stormy Daniels. Yeah. Who
Yeah.
claimed that she never had any relationship with Trump.
Yeah.
And she says, "Leave me alone about this. I don't want it." And the judge hit it. he banned it.
Yeah. You don't want to have like truth enter into the judicial process.
Oh, of course not. Thank you. That's coming from a lawyer, ladies and gentlemen. So a
lawyer who's been abused and bruised and battered by the justice system.
Well, you have been. Yes, you are a sad example of what justice really is, aren't you?
Well,
I don't mean it to sound like you're a sad person.
Yeah, I was going to say,
you are a victim. You are a victim of your own career as lawyers.
Yeah. Right? I'm not going to make a comment that we're going to talk about sad. We won't talk about cheetahs.
Oh my God. I forgot to do a joke for the rabbi and I had to move it around a little bit. In fact, I got yours. Yeah, that's for sure. All right. Fanny Willis. She's out, apparently. Yeah. And she got fined for having all that stuff happening with her boyfriend and her going to the Justice Department and getting advice from them. Is that correct?
Yeah. And here's an interesting thing. Patty and I were talking about this morning.
Yes.
She was saying, do you think that Alvin Bragg and Juan Merchan are happy about spending all these years and all this taxpayer money and only to improve Trump's standing and get him elected? I have an opposite view on it. I think that the powers that be know exactly what they're doing, and they wanted to get Trump elected. And so all these prosecutions of him just gave him earned media, free advertising for 2 years. What happened the first time in 2016, right? They put Trump on the front page every day. What a buffoon he is, all this stuff. But the people love him, and the more they see him, the more they love him. In the 20 election, they said, okay, we can't do that. We will just ban Trump from the airwaves and promote this loser in the basement. Then in this campaign, once again, they arrange it so that every time you turn on the television or the radio or your internet, the only thing you hear about is Donald Trump.
So is this something Trump did?
I think it's a level.
Trump of fixing his own election by getting indicted? Hey, that's,
I think it's that shadow government behind everything that you and I never get to see or hear about. You know, people always ask me because they think I know something, which is a big mistake. But they always ask, you know, who really runs the world? I say, well, if we knew their name, they wouldn't be in charge.
Okay, do you believe in this too, Pat? That this is what happened? That somehow Trump got elected because they kept on indicting him and fining him, and talking about taking the tower from him and stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah. But I'm not so sure that the powers that be wanted him to be elected, but that's how it happened. Because you think about all this crazy stuff going on. What is the press going to do? They just want to sell. They just want to sell tickets. They just want you watching their, their cancer treatments or their whatever that they're selling on commercials, and they have to go with it because the story's so big. And so I'm not sure that I don't know who's pulling the strings that would want him to be president.
I can't imagine that they'd be that smart.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're probably not lawyers, right?
Smarter than I am because you picked up on it and I didn't. I would think if I was Trump, if there was a way to do that, yeah. And, but I just can't see him that being manipulative of that, because there was real harm possible for him. And
think about how many strings had to be pulled. In New York, they had to do away with the statute of limitations. So the claims that he assaulted her in the dressing room at Bergdorf 30 years ago could have a live statute of limitations. You got to change the statute of limitations, find a claim from 30 years ago, and find a jurisdiction where people will buy that BS and find them guilty. Right? It goes back. You got to think how clever and how what's a good way of putting it? Dishonest and manipulative the powers that be are to arrange all this, going back to setting aside the statute of limitations just to get Trump on one case.
It's obvious that these people hate Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Not.
And not just Donald Trump. They hate you. They hate me. They hate everybody that we stand for.
It's not because they're trying to do this. It's because they're stupid.
And
Can a lawyer be stupid? Can a prosecutor be stupid? Can a judge be really stupid? I think.
What do you call
I bother you guys because you're going to be a judge someday. She's going to be probably running the DOJ someday, and you're going to look back on this and say, no, those people didn't like Trump, and they didn't do this on purpose.
Well, what do you call a man with an IQ of 45? Your Honor.
Joe Biden? Yeah,
Your Honor.
He came up with that. Huh?
Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Oh, Your Honor. That's really good. I'm gonna go to your next trial and see how that works out. Your Honor, can I intercede? You know what this man said about you? No, I can't do that. I wouldn't do that. Never, for a little money here and there. Otherwise, let's talk about Fanny's out. How about this Aragon guy? Allegedly, he was kicked off, and within minutes, he was back on the case.
Yeah, I don't know. The machinations these days are so complicated. Like we're talking about, who knows what the purpose is on any of this stuff.
Well, yeah, but none of them, I believe, like Trump. I think it's a complete accident, and I think they're in their minds are absolutely in disarray about what happened when they did this. They thought everybody hated Donald Trump.
Well, here, let me throw this one out at you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever read the Dune novels when you're in high school. But one of the major tenets is that they get that the human being that gets transformed into this godlike emperor kills as many people as he possibly can to become such an overwhelming dictator that no one will ever allow somebody like him to get in power again. He intentionally is such a tyrant that he hopes to prohibit tyrants from ever getting elected again.
Yeah.
So what if these people really believe that Donald Trump is a devil, right? Maybe the manipulation is to get him elected president so that they can then use everything that they think he's going to do, all these Hitlerian things that they claim he's going to do against the Republican Party forever in the future, and hope that by getting him elected president, they will create a stigma from which we can never recover.
Well, they sort of tried to do that in the first attempt at 2016. They were so sure he was going to lose. They had all the polls fixed in a way that he even on voting day and much into voting day, they had him losing 100%.
Yeah,
it started to change a little bit here and there.
And they were so sure that he was going to destroy the country.
Yeah,
he was going to be a dictator. And they
yeah,
wanted to
but he obviously had significant amount of fans. Me being one of them. I mean, when did you discover that you liked Donald Trump, both of you?
We have on my desk a framed picture of our now 35-year-old daughter when she was 7 meeting Donald Trump at Trump Tower. So that's how long we've been on the Trump team.
That's cute. How about that? Did she vote for Trump?
We made her.
She's apolitical, but we made her be political.
And you too, Pat, same thing?
What's that?
Do you have another story about why you...
Going back from the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, the real beginning, when he was just, we're talking 9 or something, like 2008. Well,
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, if you're a business guy like me, you have an inclination to at least listen to a business guy, right? So I'm listening, and I'm open to anybody. And when he got into the debates, and he and what's the name of the senator in Ted Cruz?
Oh, yeah.
When they went against each other, Trump laid out some really nasty stuff, and I'm sitting there listening for this great lawyer, 9 cases won in the Supreme Court, and a brilliant lawyer. All you can hear was brilliant lawyer, and all you heard was crickets.
Yeah.
He didn't have any response to Donald Trump. See, the
Ted Cruz is actually
out.
Yeah.
Listen, there you go. There you go. There's proof right there. That's what happened. And then I says, I'm voting for this guy.
Yeah, no
Come
question.
on.
And
Come on. If he can beat this guy, he can beat anybody.
And he did something that nobody had ever done before, right? Instead of being kind of mousy and edging around the corners, he comes up with insulting nicknames for everybody. Little Marco, all this kind of stuff. And the people loved it because they'd never seen a politician before who would actually go out there and not just tell the truth, but enjoy it and have fun. Just like somebody he got a billionaire from New York who becomes a man of the people and becomes the most likable guy to the middle class that the country's ever seen.
And what he did in this last thing with McDonald's and the trash people. Oh my God, the trashing was amazing. Women were actually wearing trash bags. I mean, and that is incredible. Nobody could have done that. Nobody would have thought of that except for him.
Yeah. So are you guys all waiting in breathless anticipation for what Elon and Charlie Kirk are going to do with Big Mike?
Big Mike. You talking about
Michelle Obama?
Well, what are they going to do with her? Are they going to date her?
I think they're going to. The implication is that they're going to unload all the evidence that she's a he, just like Joan Rivers said.
Well, what are you going to do? They're supposed to be there to cut the amount of government.
Well,
so how much are they going to get off of that?
Maybe she's going to have a schmuckectomy.
I didn't know an Irish guy knew the word schmuck. I'm impressed now. I'm really impressed. Did you know that word, Pat?
Of course.
Of course. Well, you're living with him, so I'm pretty sure that word. That's amazing. Anyways, let's see. Let's talk about the 1/6ers that you are helping by suing the fraudulent judges that threw 1,300 of them in jail.
Yeah.
Are you still on that?
Well, hopefully on January 20th, there's going to be something in the way of a blanket or a near blanket pardon or a commutation. And then there's going to have to be some compensation. I talked to our buddy Jeff Zink's son, Ryan, and about setting up a program for for restitution and for compensation. You know, the way they treated these people, and the people that were tortured, like Ryan Zink, the people that were improperly imprisoned, like 1,300 of them. You can't fix their lives with money, but you got to do something where it stings the government enough to tell the government, you will never do this again.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think you do. You have to. You can't let this go. You can't, because it'll get worse.
Yeah.
It'll get worse, and maybe on both sides. Because if Republicans like Trump get nailed, well, what are they going to do in response? They got to do the same thing with their judges.
Yeah,
and it doesn't work for this country. It doesn't work.
It just spirals out of control. All these people, like, you know, I'll go back to Anthony Fauci and the CDC and the National Institutes of Health. All these people that lied to us, all these people that caused misery and death. You can't just say let bygones be bygones. You have to prosecute them. People are going to have to go to jail. The reason why nobody trusts politicians is that for the same thing that you or I would go to jail for, politicians just get ignored and get brushed off. People write strong letters. They have committee meetings. Nobody goes to jail. There's never any real consequence, and that's why people don't trust politicians.
It's a community swamp.
Yeah,
they all take care of themselves, except for the crocodiles are out there protecting them.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So Zink, you mentioned Zink. Zink was supposed to be on next. I got a call from him yesterday at 11 o'clock. I got good news, bad news. I says, all right, so let's do the bad news. The bad news is he can't be on your show. I says, well, okay, what's the good news? Well, the good news is I'm having, the reason I can't be on the show is I'm talking to the gal that hires people for the Trump administration. You know, he is very close to being, in fact, he is Robert Kennedy's choice to be Assistant Secretary of HHS. Okay, how's that?
Yeah, pretty cool.
So he thought he was going to be a congressman in Maricopa County. Now he's going to be sitting at the table, being quizzed by these same people that he was going to be one of. I mean, that's really cool. I hope he gets it. I hope he gets it. So he's a good guy, and his kid is apparently a good guy too. I've never met him personally. I met Jeff, has come out to my house and stayed there for a while.
We met Jeff out in Phoenix, had breakfast with him, and then we were down at the Eagle Pass Truckers Rally last spring. Met Ryan down there. So,
well, that's cool. Are you going to the inauguration?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to go.
Oh, cool. Well, you got to report back on that.
Oh, we will. Yeah, we
I'm
just.
not gonna get in. I don't care. You know what? Even Zink says I don't want to be in D.C. until he's actually inaugurated. All right, I don't want to. I have bad memories of D.C. You know, his kid got arrested and charged with felonies and actually convicted, not even being in the building. Yeah, somebody's got to do something about that. Yeah. And you two are the people. Are you going to be involved in that too, Pat?
Oh, what's that? What part?
The prosecution of
the prosecution. Absolutely.
About and
prosecution.
Sounds like a two-lawyer one.
Well, it's going to be more than that, I think.
It's going to be a lot of lawyers.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's not just the people that actually got arrested and went to jail. Think about the million people in D.C. that day who the Justice Department ordered their banks, who cooperated in doing it, and the telephone companies in dumping all that information, giving all that proprietary and confidential information to the government just because the government asked. I mean, that level of wiretapping and invasion of our privacy, once again, that needs to be dealt with.
What about the big guys like Merrick Garland and
Garland, Alejandro Mayorkas? Those guys need to go to jail.
That guy too.
Yeah.
What about those guys?
They need to be prosecuted. You know, people go to jail. Steve Bannon went to jail. Peter Navarro went to jail.
Right.
For doing far less than lying to the people than Anthony Blinken and Merrick Garland and Alejandro Mayorkas.
All those people did was they refused to lay out their talks with President Trump.
Yeah.
They just refused to do that, which is a pretty good excuse, don't you think? The right to privilege?
He was president of the United States, and you're having a private conversation with him. I think, yeah, that's kind of the kind of thing that ought to be like confidential.
And they've already served their sentences.
Yeah,
they're already convicted felons, I guess.
Yeah, and you know, you look at these hearings in front of the Senate, in front of the House, and Merrick Garland and Anthony Blinken and Alejandro Mayorkas and all these scumbags go up there and either lie their asses off or refuse to answer any questions.
Yeah, all right, incredible.
Not that I feel strongly about it.
What about the innocents besides Ashley Babbitt? Are you going to look into that? Getting Mike, whatever his name was, maybe get him, not Big Mike, but the guy that shot her and killed her.
Yeah. What you know, you just got to think about how corrupt the world is up there. Here's a capital city policeman that shoots and kills an unarmed woman, 14-year Air Force veteran. He gets exonerated instantly, right?
Yeah.
Yet, if you listen to MSNBC, they'll still talk about the insurrection killing 5 Capitol police officers that day and brutally beating and hospitalizing dozens of others. Just pure
and one that Sunny gal's telling everybody this is the worst thing since the Holocaust, since World War II. I mean, she's practically in tears. And there are films of police or others shooting some kind of guns or explosives things into the crowds. I wonder how many actually died that we don't know about.
Yeah. Well, I've talked to lots of people that were there that say that the cops were shooting the flashbang grenades right into the midst of people. Just, you know, these things are not benign events. They're explosives.
Sure. So is the FBI, Cash and DOJ and Bondi, are they going to investigate 1-6 committedly? Do you think?
I think they will. I don't know if you read Cash's book a couple of years ago. He laid out a list of 60 people that need to be investigated and prosecuted.
Who was this?
Cash Patel.
Oh no, I didn't read it. Go ahead.
But if he follows through on what he was talking about in his book, then I think we're going to have some real justice here.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find you and hire you?
Well, you can find me and hire me at McCloskeylaw.com, McCloskeylaw.com. You can catch me on the air and on my X feed at McCloskey USA. And I do a radio program, not as good as a Dave Weinbaum program.
Oh, no, come on.
But we broadcast on News Talk STL on Sunday afternoons and up in Kansas City on Saturday afternoons. But you can catch me every episode on Rumble and on X.
This is a couple's question now. Does it get any better than to be married to a woman you love, willing to scratch your back?
I don't know about that.
Okay, it's answered. You never asked Pat to scratch. I'm always asking my wife to scratch my back. In fact, she does it so bad I bleed half the time because she's pissed off when she does it. All right, you guys. You have a great weekend, and thanks a lot for being stars on the Dave Weinbaum Show.
Take care, Dave.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Keep them laughing. That's what we got to do. All right, thanks. Okay, that's pretty good. Do we finish our commercials and everything? Oh, good. Well, we got time to do stuff, don't we?
We're actually ahead of schedule.
Yeah. What time is it? I can't tell. Why can't I tell where the clock is anymore? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, down the lower right.
Let's see, 10:23. All right, well, we got a couple minutes till the next guest. And that means we got a couple of minutes that we could maybe hey, for the new guy, I want the baby in the womb thing.
I got it.
All right?
I got it ready, actually.
Okay,
yeah.
this guy coming up, this Mark Lee Dixon. Look it up, markleedixon.com. And you're going to find somebody that's battled Supreme Courts. He's battled Supreme Courts in Texas and in the National Supreme Court. And he saves babies, this guy. He saves a lot of babies, and he gets towns to have sanctuaries for these babies. that they can't get Mark Lee Dixon. And he's coming up next. I hope he shows. It's still snowing out here. But we'll see. I haven't gotten a phone call one way or the other. But Joe Dalton got him, and he's going to be he's going to be here any minute now. But let's see what we got here about. Let's do Reagan and Carlin.
Yep.
Today marks my first State of the Union address to you, a constitutional duty as old as our republic itself. President Washington began this tradition in 1790 after reminding the nation that the destiny of self-government and the preservation of the sacred fire of liberty is finally staked on the experiment entrusted to the hands of the American people. For our friends in the press who place a high premium on accuracy, let me say, I did not actually hear George Washington say that.
Do you ever find yourself standing in one of the rooms in your house and you can't remember why you went in there? And two words float across your mind: Alzheimer's disease. You ever been talking to yourself and somebody comes in the room and you have to make believe you were singing? And you hope to God the other person really believes there's a song called What Does She Think I Am? Some kind of putz?
Yeah, that's good stuff. That is good stuff. Some people don't laugh at that though. We ought to play Eddie Murphy. That's a big. You didn't laugh at this. Listen to this.
You'll know from Fanny, you bastard.
There you go. There you go. Right there. There you go. That's funny, and that's what I love talking to. Is I love talking to people who got a sense of humor, for God's sakes. I like to have fun. Don't you like to have fun?
And if I could do some community promotion here.
Yes, let's do that.
If people want to have fun, now listen.
Yeah.
It's snowy outside right now.
Yeah.
Tomorrow it's supposed to be mid-40s. This snow and stuff, it's going to start melting off the next couple of days. We get 40-degree temperature. Starting at 1 o'clock over right here in Raleigh, Gibson Arena. Missouri ST women tip off at 1 o'clock. And then right after them, the men tip off.
Yeah.
The minor men are number 17 in the nation right now. Top 17 team in Division II. And Drury from Springfield is coming to town.
Are they good, Drury?
They're good, and they're a conference rival.
Oh, good.
So this big game. The students are gone.
Are you gonna be calling the games?
I'll be calling the games.
Good for you.
And the students are still gone on holiday break.
Where do they listen to this on?
So they can listen on ESPN 104 or we don't have a web. You go to resultsradioonline.com and there's an ESPN 104.9 banner. You click on it and you can live stream it from your phone or listen on radio, ESPN 104.9. That's the signal. But we need people to show up because this team is good. They need community support, and the students are still going on holiday break. So we need people showing up to Phil Gibson and make it loud in there.
Okay.
And these two teams are fun to watch. So far, combined, they've lost 3 games between the men and the women.
Wow.
Total.
They've never been this good, have they?
They haven't been this good since like the 70s or 80s.
This is a specialized engineering school.
Yes.
And their golf team is kicking butt.
So I know you love basketball.
Yeah.
You remember Dirk Nowitzki that played for the Mavericks.
Yeah.
We have a kid that's a graduate student who transferred here this year from Illinois. He has a shot just like Dirk Nowitzki. It's this rainbow shot. They go out to guard him and block him. He shoots right over the top of him.
Right. Is he a tall guy?
He's about 6'4", 6'5".
All right, but it's not,
But
he's a forward kind of guy.
Yeah, but we have 3 freshmen that came in this year. And they're all really good. And we have one kid that's like 6'9". He came in from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
He's already had a double-double this year. He's a freshman, and he hasn't really figured out how to play college basketball at the college level yet.
Yeah.
And he's already got a double-double. We have another guy, Andrew Young, who's a forward. He's 6'8", and he can shoot from the outside. He can shoot from the inside. He's had 3 double-doubles already this year.
Wow.
Lavelle Williams is our star guard. They have some really, really good players, and they are fun to watch.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's great, and we're waiting on our next guest. I might go out, venture out there. Why don't we run a couple more clips? Let's do let's do 6. You did 15, right? You
I
did
did
that, right?
Yep.
Let's do 16 and 17.
Okay.
All right, and I'll see if our next guest is here.
Joining me now with more is the Federalist's editor-in-chief and Fox News contributor, Molly Hemingway. Molly, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Give us your reaction to President Biden issuing these medals.
Well, this award to Liz Cheney really is inappropriate. This is a woman who was hand-selected by Nancy Pelosi to run a committee that was extremely one-sided. Liz Cheney, in the course of running this committee to supposedly investigate the January 6th incident at the Capitol, she obstructed justice. She witness tampered. We have lots of reason to believe she witness tampered with Cassidy Hutchinson getting involved in that woman's actual legal representation. She hid evidence that exonerated Donald Trump. One of the big things that Liz Cheney had said was that Donald Trump had not, in fact, sought a presence at the Capitol to protect people who were protesting. And she had evidence when she conducted her interviews that the deputy chief of staff said he personally heard Donald Trump say that he thought 10,000 National Guard troops would be good, that he heard the chief of staff talk to the D.C. mayor encouraging her to request those troops. But she hid that evidence, completely failed to release that evidence until, and it only came out after Republicans took control of the House. This is not someone that you should be giving an award to, someone who's witness tampering, obstructing justice, and the like.
So do you think she broke the law? Because remember, in the last few weeks, there was some conversation about Biden issuing her a pardon. Is a pardon warranted?
The pardon is being sought by people who know what she did because she is in legal jeopardy. At the very least, she should be investigated for this. But I also think it's just so interesting how much Democrats, the reason why she's getting the award is because she helped Democrats campaign. They thought that she was helpful. But you might remember that the Kamala Harris campaign had Liz Cheney out on the road. That was their closing message. If you vote for Kamala Harris, you're going to have people like Liz Cheney handling our foreign policy. And polling showed that that was actually a net negative with people on that campaign. So Liz Cheney, as awful as her behavior has been in these last few years, she did give Republicans this gift of taking her very unpopular, politically toxic neocon interventionism and moving it from the Republican Party now firmly into the Democrat Party.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got a big treat here for you, and this gentleman is a director with Right to Life of East Texas and founder of Sanctuary Cities for the Unborn. He's known for leading 67 cities and 7 counties in passing ordinances outlawing abortion. Please welcome, I guess he's from Texas.
Absolutely.
Mark Lee Dixon. See, you didn't notice all those people out there giving you applause, but they're out there. Now they get out. Come on, I don't want to pay overtime. Anyways, Mark, it was reported by the Washington Times that you were the first to be sued by the abortion industry for calling abortion murder. What was the outcome to that?
Well, the Texas Supreme Court ruled in my favor, and it was a great victory. That, we can say that abortion is murder.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Well, you're in here. I believe in that. I was on the board of directors with Joe Dalton. You know Joe now, right?
Great guy.
Yeah, and so I'm of the same feeling of that. But half the world isn't.
Correct.
It's like it's okay to kill babies. I've never understood that ever. I've never gotten it. In fact, I want to play you something, which is. Do you have that?
Yeah, I'll turn the screen real quick so you can actually see it.
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah, we're gonna show you a picture of a. You've probably seen this before. It's a Brazilian dad, and his daughter is in the womb. Have you seen this?
Not sure.
If you haven't seen this, you got to see this. This is incredible stuff. And you out there, please look at this. This is amazing. If you haven't seen it before, I've played it a couple times on the show. It's about an unborn baby. So here it is.
Nenê do pai. Mas, meu Deus do céu, gente. Ela tá feliz, meu Deus do céu. Bebê.
Let's start it over.
Nenê do pai.
Look at the.
Mas, meu Deus do céu, gente. Ela tá feliz, meu Deus do céu. Bebê. Mas, gente do céu. Nenê do pai. Mas, meu Deus do céu, gente.
Inside the womb,
Absolutely.
this baby, you can see it. It's what is it, 3D or something like that, or
3D ultrasound.
3D ultrasound, and she's in the womb, and she looks like she's like 3 years old or something like that. At what point does a baby become someone that needs their lives protected? Is it right at conception or what?
I believe wholeheartedly the moment of conception that's a human being worthy of protection.
Okay, so the crowd that says, well, we have a right to our, what do they call it, our women's rights, or I don't know what they call it, but we have a right to our health rights. They're calling it health rights. And so what do you say to them? I'm not sure I understand that. I could understand if the real truth is this is an inconvenient for us. That's probably more like it. It could be in other cases that they are just flustered by the fact that they don't know how to take care of babies and things like that. So, but why? So how do you get that across to people who say I have a right to have abortions?
Well, one, murder isn't healthcare, and so ending the life of another human being is not healthcare. Abortion is the intentional taking of another human life made in the image of God, and it should not be allowed in this country. And I'm from Texas. We are in a state that says abortion is prohibited, but we're not just stopping there. I'm not just saying, well, we've outlawed abortion in Texas and our work is over. We still have problems. We still have abortion-inducing drugs coming into our state. We still have organizations that are taking minors across state lines for abortions without parental consent. We've got problems still that we've got to address. Women are still ending the lives of their children. Children that should be treated just as human as me and you.
So you're going to these cities. How do you get these cities to go along with these mandates that you will not kill babies anymore?
Well, every state, we have to work within the laws of that state. And so, of course, Texas is going to be different than New Mexico and even Missouri now. But what I do is I have this online petition that people sign, and it lets us know where the interest is. That there are people in this community that want to see their city pass an ordinance that goes as far as they possibly can go to protect innocent life. Yeah. And at that point, when there's enough interest in that area, or a legislator from that area reaches out, then I work with them to come up with an ordinance that fits their city and their state. And the person I work with is Jonathan Mitchell. He's an attorney, former Solicitor General for the state of Texas. He is the one who was behind the Texas Heartbeat Act, and he is also the one who helped get President Trump back on the ballot in Colorado. He's the one that argued before the Supreme Court. Yeah. He's also the one who argued the bump stocks case out of Texas, the gun shop owner. That was before the Supreme Court of the United States. And so very accomplished individual. He is professor of Stanford Law. He is someone who he's actually helping with the Trump transition team right now. But this is someone who is a constitutional attorney who knows his stuff. And we have passed the numbers are actually updated now, 70 cities and 8 counties across 7 states. And so we've had a lot of victories, and we're looking forward to seeing more victories here in the great state of Missouri.
And you're in Rala, Missouri.
Yes, sir.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going great.
Is it?
Getting used to the weather up here.
Well, this isn't usually like this, but you know.
And, there's been a lot of back and forth. Some of the headlines make it sound like this is dead in the water. And I just believe that that's not true. There's a lot of interest in this community. This is a very conservative community.
Yeah.
And I do think that the city council that you guys have here in Rala, really good people. And I think we are going to see something move forward. The key here, though, is that there are a lot of forces at play. There's the ACLU.
Right.
There's Planned Parenthood.
Right.
There's all these supporters of Amendment 3 that do not want to see this pass.
Right.
Well, what are they really afraid of? They're afraid of something being passed here that's going to thwart the progress that they've brought about.
Yeah.
Their progress, quote unquote.
And they call the Third Amendment progress, quote unquote. Right.
Which, absolutely.
What is it really?
Well, it's a snake.
Yeah.
Amendment 3 is a snake that's in the Missouri Constitution, and I admit I cannot remove that snake.
Yeah.
But what we can do is defang that snake. And the way that snake can be defanged is by appealing to these federal statutes, which were passed in 1873 by Congress, and known as the Comstock Act. It prohibits the mailing and receiving of abortion-inducing drugs and abortion paraphernalia, anything used for an abortion. Now, these were passed in 1873, as I stated. It's supposed to be about 150 years old. But these laws were not able to be enforced under Roe v. Wade. Well, Roe v. Wade was overturned June 24th of 2022. And who was president? Biden.
Yeah.
Well, was Biden going to enforce these federal statutes?
Hell no.
No. And so now we have a new president coming in. And what I believe is that we have a good shot to see these federal statutes enforced. But regardless, this is the law of the land. And there's nothing holding these federal statutes back from being enforced. No longer. There's no Roe v. Wade that's holding them back.
Well, even Donald Trump said that, while he doesn't believe in abortion, it's the state's issue to determine what that is. So how does that coincide? Because some of these states have very liberal abortion policies and some not so liberal. So how are you getting all these states and these communities to go along with you?
Well, and I love President Donald J. Trump. He did misquote the Supreme Court opinion, though.
Oh.
In the Dobbs versus Jackson opinion, the Supreme Court of the United States said that the issue has now been returned to the people and their elected representatives.
Right.
Well, that's at every level of government. That's at federal, that's at state, that's at local. And so what we're doing is we're going forth, and, I'm really inspired by what got me in this whole movement. Amos 5:15, the word of God, more than anything else that can ever be echoed on this station or from any pulpit in America or on any newscast, the word of God is the strongest words that are out there. And Amos 5:15 says to hate evil, to love good, and to establish justice within the city gates. And perhaps the Lord, the God of hosts, be gracious on the remnant of Joseph. And that is the passage that really drives me to hate evil, love good, and establish justice. Well, so as I'm going from place to place, regardless where I'm at, a state like Texas, the laws, of course, they already outlaw abortion, and they allow us to do further restrictions. But when we have these constitutional amendments or these laws that are passed the liberal state legislatures, well, what do we do? Well, these federal statutes trump state laws and state constitutions. And so we can lean upon these pro-life laws at the federal level to rein in these ungodly snakes that are in our constitutions and that are passed in our legislatures.
So what was your personal situation with the Supreme Court? Did you have to testify before them? Were you in court in the United States Supreme Court?
Well, there's been several cases. So in the Texas Heartbeat Act, when that was passed, that ended up going before the Supreme Court of the United States on a rocket docket. I was the only private citizen that was named in that case. Now, I did not have to go before the Supreme Court of the United States. That whole process was handled in briefs, but all 9 justices agreed the case against me should be dismissed in the Texas Heartbeat Act case.
Now, this is the Supreme Court judging on the heartbeat case in Texas, but this is the Supreme Court of the United States you're talking about.
Correct.
Right?
And now the other case, the defamation case, that one was before the Supreme Court of Texas.
Yeah. All right.
So been involved in several of these cases, but we've seen victory time and time again. And, every single time the ACLU has sued me or sued a city that has passed one of these ordinances, they've lost. And I really kind of like pointing that out.
Yeah.
That these ACLU, they have a worse record than their record is worse than the Dallas Cowboys. I love the Dallas Cowboys, and when they get a win, it's great. I celebrate. But the ACLU, they really suck. They don't get any wins.
So how do they exist? I mean, they are made to sue people for justice. That's the ACLU, right? How do they miss the point of babies' justice?
They just ignore it.
Why? But that's not justice,
right?
And that's what they stand for. It's incredible. All right. So, is there, when women get abortions? I had this experience a long time ago on a radio show before I got into my own little gig here. That they wanted me on. There was a San Diego show, it was breakfast there and all that breakfast show, and they were liberal. And I had written some articles, anti-abortion articles, for the Jewish World Review. And this guy wanted to put me on to embarrass me, which, okay, whatever. So he had phone callers in who were pro-abortion. So one gal gets on, and she's telling me what a jerk I am for fighting this and that and the other. And I says, so you had an abortion, right? She says, yeah. I says, so how do you feel about that right now? And it was a big pause. And she says, well, I got to confess, I'm really ashamed of what I did. And I feel horrible about it. Horrible. And so the guy who's running the show, I guess he wanted to discuss it. He says, next caller. I mean, just like that. And so then we go to commercial. And the producer gets on, and he says, Mr. Weinbaum, he says, can you stay on for another segment? I said, well, I thought you didn't like me here. He says, yeah, but the phones are ringing off the hook. It really started and I thought maybe I'd have a regular gig on this show, but no, they never called me back. But I wonder about women who do this, and is there anything about you and saying that this is a crime against a woman that actually do it?
Right. I believe that there's culpability at all levels here.
Yeah.
That the mother of the unborn child who is involved in the taking that innocent child's life, I do ask the question of why aren't we holding her to the same level of accountability that we would hold a mother who drowns her 2-month-old in the bathtub?
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, I just want to stress that every single law that I've been involved with, every single city ordinance, every single state law, there's always an exception for the mother of the
Right.
unborn child.
Right.
And so I'm not penalizing in any of these ordinances the mother of the unborn child, but I am open to having the discussion, because I think when we start having the discussion, we all realize that we cannot treat every single woman in this world who's involved in abortion as a victim. The unborn child obviously is the one who's being killed, and they are the true victim, the unborn child. The majority of mothers that I've talked to, they admit to me, the ones that I've seen who have chosen life on the sidewalk of Hope Medical Group for Women in Shreveport, Louisiana, when that was operational, they told me that they were going to kill their baby, and they thanked the Lord that someone was there to stop them from that horrible decision.
Yeah.
You see, there's a great deception in our land. People are deceiving these mothers. And my message on the sidewalk of the abortion facilities, and my message to anyone who's listening today who may be contemplating an abortion, my message is this: you can be a great mother to that child. And do not let any single person in this world or organization convince you that you can't be a good mother to that child.
Yeah.
You have been chosen by God to be a good mother. And there are people in this community, in this state, in this nation that believe in you, that are willing to throw baby showers for you. They're willing to get behind you, help you with whatever it takes to help you be a great mother to that child.
And I guess you get it across in such a way that it's believable. And I mean, there are laws against killing babies, isn't there?
There is.
I mean, so all right. So let me ask other questions here. How's the reception been in Rala? Has it been good? Or you're saying it's positive? I'm hearing.
I'm hearing there's mixed. Okay,
Yeah.
so there are several different groups of people out there. There are those that understand this for what it is, and they're excited about it, and they want to see this move forward because they realize the Attorney General's office had a representative show up.
Bailey, right? Yeah.
Correct. Attorney General Bailey's office had someone show up from his office, and let the City Council Rala know that it is possible to pass an ordinance at the local level as long as that ordinance is consistent with state and federal law. And then you have those people on the opposite side that are pro Amendment 3 that don't want to see this come to reality.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have those middle people who maybe they profess to be conservative, but they've never been really put on the spot with having to take an action on a matter such as this.
Yeah.
And so they're being tested right now. That are they pro-life just in words? Or are they pro-life in actions? We always say, well, if I was on the Supreme Court, I would do X, Y, Z.
But what would you do if you were a mother who was pregnant and or a potential father who might be responsible for the baby? Right. What would you do then? That's a very interesting point. So I'm not going to tell you my story about it, but whatever. Okay. I think I've asked all my questions. Anything you want to add?
Well, I would just say that I do think we're going to continue to see this conversation move forward in Rala, but this is not the only city that's considering this.
Yeah.
And you may have listeners who are on city councils that are saying, we know that Rala takes a long time to address issues in this community. Yeah. We want to go ahead and do this.
Well,
and
tell them how to reach you.
They can reach me at my website, markleedickson.com. That's MarkLeeDickson. But you can also reach me at sanctuarycitiesfortheunborn.com. And if you are a listener and you're wanting to see this in your community, I encourage you, sign the online petition. Let us know why you want to see your city go as far as they possibly can to protect pregnant mothers and their unborn children in your community.
When are you going to be in the Rala City Hall next?
Well, the 21st is the next council meeting.
Okay.
And so that is when I'm planning to be there next, and we'll see what happens. We really don't know with city council meetings. Something can be added to the agenda just days before. And so we'll see what happens. And until then, though, we're going to continue to be going to other places throughout the state of Missouri.
Okay.
And
so in between, you're going to be traveling around.
Absolutely.
All right, good. Any towns you want to mention?
Well, anytime I mention a town, it ends up if the pro-aborts find out about it, they're going to jump on that like flies on a hot dog at a picnic. But it's one of those things that the communities, we're communicating in those communities for people to show up. But really, every single community in Missouri is able to do a measure like we're talking about in Rala. And so don't be surprised if you hear about this happening in a city like Marshfield or a Doolittle or a Lebanon or
that's roots up
wherever
kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
So you didn't go to the very top, although you will talk to the very top. You're getting it roots up, so to speak, and that's pretty smart. And you've had 70 of these towns have gone for this. That's amazing. And plus, you got counties. You got counties. How many counties now? 10?
8. So 70 cities and 8 counties. And let me tell you the size variation we're talking about here. So among the cities, the largest city that has passed this is Lubbock, Texas. It's 264,000. Lubbock County is the largest county. That's over 318,000. The smallest city would be Impact, Texas, population 20. And so it doesn't matter the size. It's an interesting
name for that, for 20 people.
Absolutely.
Impact, baby.
And
we may be small, but we got impact.
Absolutely. And what people don't realize is the majority of cities in America, there's about 20,000 cities in America. And according to the U.S. Census Bureau, 76% of those cities are 5,000 and less. And the majority of those, are 500 and less.
Wow.
And so America really is a nation of small towns. And as a reporter once told me, they're like, Mark, a lot of these cities are small towns. And I said, me and you have a very different understanding of small. And that was someone from New York City. New York is not the standard for America.
Thank God.
Rala is actually a pretty large city for America. And Rala can make a difference. And who knows, maybe God is going to use Rala to end abortion in all 50 states and U.S. territories.
Well, you're in a good city with it. You're in good company with the Daltons and the Pregnancy Resource Center here. So I appreciate you coming in. And I want to thank you and Happy New Year. And I hope you're successful. Stay in touch.
Will do.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We got 2 minutes to go. Oy vey. It's a little late to call, but you can put messages. Do I have any messages on there?
We don't have any new ones.
All right. That's fine. I don't want to read any old ones either. Okay. Well, you can just hang out till the end of the show. That's fine. So we've got somebody asked about the Italian Prime Minister. That's Meloni, and she's made her way to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring, I guess, like all the others. She's very pro-Trump, and Facebook has finally scrapped fact checks. And that's a good thing. We'll see how long that lasts. McDonald's just stopped DEI strategy, and this is post SCOTUS decision. that DEI is it's wrong. It's racist. Trump's friend Dana White is on Zuckerberg's Meta board. That should be interesting. I guess that was probably agreed upon with Trump so that he could watch over and make sure that this guy isn't just lying like he used to. And how much? Oh, we got 47 seconds. All right. Well, I want to thank Mark Lee Dixon here. He's doing a wonderful job.
And I made sure and put his website in the comments, so everybody can go to it, click on it, and check it out.
Great. And I want to thank everybody listening to the show. I want to thank JP for getting his butt out in the cold weather. And my wife at home, who I said stay home because it was kind of iffy to get here this morning. I'll be back next week with another edition of the Dave Weinbaum Show. You have a great weekend, and let's bring some good weather back.
Gotta reach 'em, sit right down, then you gotta